All right. Hello, everybody. In today's video, we're going to do a podcast on Etienne's channel. Oh, actually, wait, I'm on the wrong channel. Whoops. But today we're going to be talking about running games, and this is the VSRG podcast. So welcome to the podcast. And
Episode
I'm the
5.
guest, but I'm the guest, but I'm doing.
You're doing the guess because I can't talk in front of a camera for the life of me, or at least do like a scripted one. If I try to do something scripted, I have a harder time memorizing something than I am if I'm just saying
It
whatever
feels
the hell
like
I
the
want.
words just doesn't come out right.
Yeah, no, nothing comes out. But
Brain
anyways,
empty.
this is the 5th installment. I think it's been like over a year since I'd done the last episode, which I believe was with ITG Player and ITG Modifier Windu. So I'm very glad to bring the podcast back. And today, of course, I'm with Tokaku, and she is a general rhythm gaming YouTuber. Mainly started out with Osu Content, but does a lot of content with rhythm games in general now. So there's really, I'm gonna be honest, there's really gonna be no structure with this. It's just gonna be shoot the shit, just having a good time, and yeah. What do you want to kick off with? Do you want to kick off with a topic, or do you just want to?
Actually, I wanted to ask, like, okay, the first thing I wanted to ask was, like, I actually want to get to know you. Like, I have no idea what rhythm games you actually play. Like, I know you make Guitar Hero videos and you play Eternal the most, right? But what actually have you started out with?
So I started with DDR when I was 7 years old. I'm 22 now, so I started rhythm games a decade and a half ago. It was at my local amusement park in Pennsylvania. It's called Knoebels. Look it up. It was a DDR Extreme machine, and I went in my 50-pound 3-foot self, went up to the machine. I played Graduation on beginner mode, which was the first song that would come up when you put your credits in, and I failed miserably. And I literally ran off crying. I was so upset because I failed. And I was like...
But you were 7, right?
Yeah, but I was so upset still. And I said, I'm going to get good at this game one day. And then I bought a soft mat and just played like hours every day. And then that's how I got into them.
That was during the DDR wave too in America, or like around the world at the time, at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was never aware of the DDR wave. I mean, maybe I was too young, or I just wasn't aware enough. I was still playing like Flash games on my browser.
Okay.
Oh right. Wait. Want to make a guess? What's my first rhythm game?
I don't know.
What would a person like me play?
I don't even know when you started, so that makes it even harder, to be honest.
But I'll let you know that I didn't start that like when I was that young.
Yeah.
But I also didn't start like only a few years ago, you know?
Was it a mobile game?
It's kind of a mix, actually. Okay, you got it right.
Was it like Tap Tap Revenge or something?
Okay, I'll tell you something funny later. So, I started out playing Stepmania.
Oh, okay.
Interesting, right? But
Nice.
I didn't have a computer or a laptop. So there was this, you can look it up. It's still on the Play Store right now. It's this game called Beats. It's just called
yeah,
Beats.
I've heard of Beats. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to use it to play stuff, and I'll be like, "Oh my god, everything is so hard." And then what I would do is like go to Xenia's I Vanish. I think Xenia's I Vanish.
Yeah.
Is that
Xenia's
forum
Vanish or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, and like download like Stepmania
All the
charts
DDR
from
charts.
there.
Yeah, it has like a bunch of DDR stuff.
Yeah, but the thing is that I would look for specific songs because, you know, like I was a kid, I only wanted to play like all the Toho songs that I liked. So I would
Okay.
download specific charts. And it was quite a pain. So I think after a while, I just gave up. So yeah. And my next game after that was actually Project Diva for PSP because I learned how to legally have the game.
Right, naturally.
Naturally. I mean, have you ever gone into like, let's say, handheld or like console, like gaming, like rhythm gaming?
So I owned a PSP, but I don't think I played any rhythm games on that.
I had a PSP.
Handheld, I don't know. On my iPod Touch, it had to be like a 2nd or 3rd generation, super old. I played a little bit of Tap Tap Revenge, but it just didn't function the way I wanted to. Probably because it was like a shitty touchscreen. Like, obviously, it wasn't going to work that well. But aside from that, I played Stepmania all the time. I transitioned between a few games: Stepmania, Guitar Hero, and Call of Duty. Because I actually made Call of Duty videos when I was younger.
Oh man, you know. Sometimes I think about like if I ever played Call of Duty, I wonder how good I would have gotten. Except the thing is that I have motion stimulation sickness. I can't play first person shooter games.
Ah, okay, interesting. Yeah, I did.
So what got you out of the CS:GO phase?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I tried playing CS:GO, but it just wasn't for me. I actually don't play. I don't know. I think it's because half of it's because I'm cheap, and half of it is just because there's not many games in general that intrigue me. But I really just stick to rhythm games for the most part, and occasionally some platformers and Smash if I get a working controller again.
I understand.
But
Right. Wait, I wanted to say something. Oh yeah. So like Tap Tap Revenge, right? That was the thing back then
it was
during
very
the iPhone
popular.
era.
I was surprised how
It was
popular
very,
that
very
game
popular.
got.
It was so popular, it like the mainstream media was playing it. And I remember that. And when I was young, I hated rhythm games.
Really, I
I
was
mean,
obsessed with them when I was younger. I never
I
hated
rem-
them. That's interesting. Like, why did you hate them? What made you so against them?
I was an awful kid when I was young. I bullied and
Okay,
made
that'll do
fun
it.
of my older sister for playing Tap Tap Revenge because it was a very girly game. But the tables have turned.
Girly game? That's so odd. I've never heard someone call a rhythm game a girly game or associate really
Because
any gender with a rhythm game.
I guess because when I was young, all I saw was like the cool games are the ones where you're on a platform and shoot people
Oh, okay.
or
That's
fight
that's
people.
fair.
Yeah, it was really weird. I guess when I was young, I was just like, maybe it was my environment, or maybe it was just the kind of perception of masculinity I had in my head. I was like, I want to be cool, so I'm gonna play these manly games. Even though, and then in the end of the day, it turns out like I really don't like shooter games, and
Yeah.
I play rhythm games almost all the time now.
Did you ever have access to something like Guitar Hero?
Oh right, speaking of Guitar Hero, no, I've never played Guitar Hero in my life.
Oh, it's so good. You got to get a controller.
I've okay, so mid 2018, I was still making like one of my best Osu content in my entire like YouTube timeline, at least in my opinion. The one where I was making, you know, that the Sotaks map where I replaced it with another song just to show like how terrible his mapping is. That
Right,
one,
right.
yeah, that one. During that time, I remember I was on Twitch and I was watching someone and they were playing Clone Hero. And I was like, I want to get. I just said briefly in chat that maybe I should get a Clone Hero controller. It's not too expensive to get like those adapters and stuff, and get into it. And the thing is that if I actually went through with that and didn't procrastinate on it, I would have gotten into rhythm game content a lot earlier.
Yeah. No, Clone Hero is a very, I don't know, it's a very fun game to get into, especially since there's a lot of liberation with it. Like, you can customize so many things about it. The song list and the charters are absolutely phenomenal. Like, they put a lot of work and they're really able to nuance like every little thing that any song has to offer. And there's a lot of genre variety too, actually. And that's one of the things I actually just thought of right now that I would like to talk about was there's genre variety in rhythm games. That just came to me right now because I noticed some games just don't nail it. Like, there's even specific terms for like, oh, that's BMS music, or oh, that's Sound Voltex music. Like, there's very particular genres that are associated with a rhythm game, I noticed.
Yes, I've always wished that 2DX would get more hardcore music. You know, and Sound Vortex gets all the bum 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 wop wop wop, and then
Right.
like I play Sound Vortex and I've actually gotten kind of tired of the hard kicks and the high BPM. I want to hear more piano. I want to hear more pop if that
Yes.
exists.
Listen,
Yeah.
there should be so much more pop music in every rhythm game. I think pop's such an underutilized genre despite how popular it is. I guess they just find it too cliche to use pop music, but at the same time it's almost never used for some rhythm games, which I think is odd. But I guess this will also kind of go into, do you know what a dump chart is, or have you ever heard that term?
No, what's it?
So it's basically a very overemphasized chart. Like, it goes to the music still, but it's very overemphasized. So instead of using like 1/4 notes, they'll use like 1/8 notes with 1/4 layering or something, like in a 4-key chart or something like that. Like, it's like a
I feel
heavily
like Osu
layered
does that to some
overemphasized chart.
extent.
Yeah, you've probably played some
I
of them
feel like
before. It almost seems
I
nonsensical, but it makes sense.
I'm thinking of like if you okay, this one you probably know the song, you know, Osu's infamous Scarlet Rose. If you actually
Oh
listen
yeah,
to the
yeah.
music, I don't feel like the chart will actually fit, but it fits, I guess. I don't think there's a good equivalency. I'm probably getting this wrong, but back then I think mappers and also used to do that kind of thing where they didn't map 1-4, they mapped more than that, I think.
Well, I think it's Raining Men is a good example, like the map that Vaxe and Whitecap played. It really doesn't go to the music that much at all, and if it does, it's like the little stuff in the background it just follows, but you can tell it's very overblown, like nonsensical.
Yes.
That's basically what a dump chart is considered to be in some rhythm games. Like,
Yeah, so what about dump chart?
I don't know, I feel like they're underutilized in some games because it also walks a fine line because some games like to chart specifically to the music. Like that's a lot of charting philosophy in some games, and I think that's a perfectly valid thing to have. But I think when you reach a point where top players are getting so good that you're only able to chart a specific genre, you're going to have to resort to other methods, like very unconventional methods, like I said, like dump charts. Jump charts are very unconventional. They basically take the standard methods of charting and just they mangle it all up and just form this very
I
absurdly difficult chart to a song that you wouldn't associate with a difficult chart. Like it's that irony that I think makes it, I don't know, it brings out the fun in the game a little more, in my opinion.
It's like an April Fool's joke that's not really a joke.
Yeah, it like works for some reason.
Yeah, actually, I think Taiko no Tatsujin has been pulling this quite often. The game, apparently they have this swing rhythm chart that at some points you can barely even hear. Like they map to the slightest sounds in the background. And but the thing is that you're playing the drum. You're in the arcade. Are you even going to hear those things?
Yeah.
Taiko is in the game where you put in your headphones. You know.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to keep track on that song. But at the same time, the skill level on Taiko is incredibly high. But there's also people in the game who are just incredibly good. Like I think they had at the end of each year or each era or tournament, I think, oh no, the end of each series of the Taiko no Tatsujin cabinets, they release the game releases a chart of like a video showing all the top players of that series. I think all the people who got gold Tatsujin, or either that or the ones who got like the top scores for things. Oh, want to hear something spicy? I think like, during one version, I think some person didn't like another Taiko player. So what he did was that he created a ton of multi accounts and got all the top scores, and he coordinated in a way that each of the multi accounts they spell out the guy's address. And then the video actually is an automated video, and he got published. And then like
That's wild.
The company clamped down on that guy. Yeah, it's
Holy
crazy.
shit. That's
Only
insane.
in Japan. Crazy stuff. But it's so interesting. But at the same time, it's so petty. I heard that the Taiko no Tatsujin Japanese community can get quite toxic and elitist. It's the reason why I'm so scared of making Taiko no Tatsujin videos, even though Taiko is actually my favorite video game.
I mean,
It's
you shouldn't be scared to make any type of content, but I guess it also depends on how unapologetic you can be when making content. Like personally, if I feel like what I'm saying has a lot of nuance to it and I can back it up, I actually don't give a shit what people are going to say in response. Like when I made a video on Wonder and I talked about the underlying factors in the Korean Mania community about how they treat some of their top players and the amount of jealousy and like genuine hatred that can stem from that. And I exploited that a little because it was never really brought to light. And luckily no one really flamed my video for it and I didn't really catch a lot of flack. But I think
Koreans can be vicious. I've seen it.
But to go on like another game like Clone Hero, I talked about spamming in Clone Hero about how I think it provides an unnecessarily large advantage over people who put a lot more time and effort into actually articulating their play to the point where they're hitting everything properly, compared to someone who's just mashing through everything and abusing the game engine to get the same score. And you know, I caught a lot of flack from it, which is understandable. Like obviously if I got a score I was proud of and it was spam still and people were saying, and I worked very hard for it, but I spammed and someone's like, oh, your score doesn't matter, and I'd be pretty pissed. I'm not gonna lie, I would be mad. But sometimes you just gotta make content that if you feel like is genuine and well thought out, you shouldn't be, I guess, even worried about the flack you're gonna get. Because I've pretty much kind of, I wouldn't say talk shit, because that's a very rude term to use. I don't have a reason to, I guess, talk shit on certain things. To heavily criticize certain games for what they do. I've done it for DDR, I've done it for Clone Hero, I've done it for, Mania. And I think a lot of rhythm game content creators are somewhat afraid, some of them. I think they're afraid to criticize their own game, especially like if they target one game. I don't often hear them critiquing it or thinking of ways to fix anything, which I thought is odd.
That was one thing I wasn't afraid to do when I was making Osu content. The thing is that you have to know a game if you want to critique it.
Right.
The thing that holds me back from Taiko no Tatsujin or a lot of content, the reason why it's so watered down is because in the end of the day, I haven't spent enough time in the game to know the very, very subtle things about it. However, the closest thing I could do that for would be either Archaea or some Vortex. There is something interesting about the kind of leniency or what the heck is going on in Archaea game engine. That's something, but I also
Yeah.
can't put my finger on it. It's interesting.
I remember when I said Geometry Dash isn't a rhythm game, and Geometry Dash Twitter like caught wind of
Wait
that.
after you?
Yeah, it was really a few people did. I got the occasional like, they said shut up, or they called me a retard, or they would say something fairly mean, but it was very it was very funny to see like a bunch of, which I am assuming Geometry Dash does have a rather young demographic, but I got a lot of comments with very poor spelling and a lot of insults on my Geometry Dash video.
I got the opposite actually. When you made that tweet, right? I actually did reply to it. I don't know if you remember. I was saying that Geometry Dash has the potential to be a rhythm game. In my humblest opinion, it initially started out as a rhythm game. Actually, it didn't have the perfects or the not goods or whatever. I mean, in a sense, if you're going to follow the sense of the line of logic that if there is no perfect hit, good hit or miss kind of thing, it's not a rhythm game. Then in a sense, in that way or in that line of thought, a Dance of Fire and Ice is not a rhythm game, even though it clearly is a rhythm game. Because the thing about Dance of Fire and Ice, which I actually did think while I was playing the game, was that at the end of the game, each level, when you complete a level, aka a song, they don't show you the number of earlies or lates you hit.
Right.
They just show that you've completed the song.
Yeah.
Because the way
thought that
Dance of Fire and Ice works, I thought it was weird, right?
That kind of leads me into games with very centralized metas. Now, I think the concept of what's the I always forget it's a long name. What is it? Something Fire and Ice?
A Dance of Fire and Ice. Adolfi.
Yeah. The thing about games like that, and particularly mobile games actually, is that they have a very, very centralized meta. And that's something I've never really been a fan of. Like, I feel like I can understand the game in a few weeks and learn it to a relatively decent level by the time I'm like done playing it or something like that.
What do you mean by meta, centralized meta?
I guess I like to use the term difficulty curve or difficulty cap. They have a very noticeable difficulty gap or cap where you can explore the whole game in like a month if you really dedicated yourself to it and had prior rhythm game experience. Like if I played something like even Reflect Beat to an extent. Now Reflect Beat has a lot of
Reflect Beat is one of the harder rhythm games.
Yeah, it's one of the harder rhythm games, but I feel
Isn't Reflect Beat an actual arcade cabinet too?
Yeah. It has like a weird difficulty cap for a lot of the charts, and then there's a few that really stand out as being just outright absurd. I haven't played it in years, so I don't remember too much of it, but I do remember like getting into, I think I almost AAA'd every 10. At the time they were only 10s. It didn't really go up above that. And I don't know, I feel like there just wasn't a lot to explore in terms of the charts themselves too. Like, especially since they were randomized, I wasn't a fan of that. Like the chart structure would change every time. I don't know if you knew that, but for Reflect Beat, you never got the same chart. So you always got something different.
I've only played Reflect Beat once. I always thought they were the same. I just didn't notice.
It was always shuffled around, like the position, like where the notes would lie, but the structure was the same. Like if there was like a stream or something, or like like a stream, it would be positioned in another place maybe. And then maybe if there were notes in between, they would like, I don't know. It was very, very odd, but I guess
I think I kind of like I kind of like the concept. This means that there's no such thing as memorizing in this game. Well, not exactly.
Well, yeah, but no rhythm games are really ever memorizing. So I don't know. I just found it weird that Reflect Beat like randomizes the notes each time. So I feel like I'm playing. I don't like it being luck based. I don't want luck in my rhythm
Understandable.
game. That's but I guess that's not the best example for a rhythm game. I guess I'm thinking of something a little more
You talk
simple, like
you were talking about the gentle curve, and I'm not gonna lie, I completely agree. As if I remember in my RKA video, I rewatched it like maybe a few days ago, and there's straight up inside the video I said that it has a very easy learning curve and the difficulty skill cap is not very high.
yeah,
And the thing about RKA is that it has one of the higher difficulty skill caps. And if RKA is one of the higher ones, which if you look at the hardest charts, at least at the time back then, right, it's not that difficult actually. You could if you have a lot of experience in like 4K VSRGs,
mm-hmm.
you could pretty much reach like the end level in like 2-3 months, and that's very little for a random
Yeah,
game.
that's
It
fast.
took it took me 2 years to start getting to the like 20s in some Vortex, and but for a mobile running game, 3-4 months, boom, you're at it, baby.
Yeah. Now that I think
You
about it,
reach end game
Reflect
too
Beat's a little
fast.
more detailed. Forget what I said about Reflect Beat, but in comparison to other games, I think it does have a more noticeable difficulty cap compared to other games. But I also think it's also because it's a corporation or company making all the charts, and that's another thing that kind of annoys me too. I think
What about it?
communities should always be involved with making charts for rhythm games. Always. I think every community should have a chance to prove themselves as competent charters, and perhaps like whether it be on a committee, whether it be like very open forum, like people can submit whatever. I don't get companies or like, bigger labels trying to control all of the charts that go in and out of a rhythm game. I just never
Yeah,
agree with
that
that.
I don't understand. I can't say about a lot of rhythm games I know. Okay, I know that Arcadia does take fan charts. No, they don't take fan charts and use it as their official charts. They do get fans in they do employ fans to chart things.
Hmm.
Yes, they do. I recently had a friend that like we were all waiting exactly for the update, and then like when the update came out, we were like after we were playing a bit, one of my other friends said like, "Hey, wait, isn't it your name right there? Did you just chart this?" And it was pretty cool
Yeah, that's
actually.
pretty cool actually.
I'm not sure about Citus or Lanota. I believe that the ones that are more loose ends, they are more open to fan charters,
Hmm.
especially with the simulators out there. Some Vortex might actually take fan charters because the thing about some Vortex compared to every other arcade game is that they are very reliant on the community. It all started out because all the songs that were put in the game were like remixes that people wanted to contribute,
Hmm.
and then it started blowing up from there. Yeah,
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because
yeah.
I know Konami makes a lot of charts for different rhythm games. I know Konami, at least from what I've seen, don't have other people involved, especially with stuff like DDR. There's no way a
Mhm.
community member, frankly, would make a lot of the hard DDR charts in that game. I don't know if you're too familiar with DDR charts, but some of them like make them difficult for the sake of making them difficult, and I think a lot of other games do that too. That have I feel I've seen stuff in Sound Voltex even where I see triple jacks, or I don't know, I just see some ridiculous patterns that don't make any sense. Like making stuff difficult for the
Um,
sake of being difficult, I cannot stand seeing in charts, and I've noticed that for quite a bit of games.
I I am not gonna lie. This is the whole reason why I never went above 4 stars in Mania, because I already feel like when it gets so dense, whatever clicking I hear on the keyboard, it doesn't really sound like it's the song anymore because it's just a consistent 1/4 almost like pet sound. At least to me, you know.
Ah, okay.
I remember seeing like I just don't know. It just doesn't sound like it. At the same time, there's just one thing I wanted to talk about. Also, players play rhythm games a lot more differently than actual the people who started off rhythm games as rhythm games in the first place. Um, Osu has a culture. Osu standard has a culture of using hit sounds, right?
Mm. I can't stand using the
Yeah,
hit sounds.
and you guys. So I realized. Well, my friends noticed that Osu players when they move to other rhythm games, the way they play is different compared to everyone else actually,
Hmm.
because we listen to hit sounds. everyone else listens to their button taps,
Yeah, or the music. Yeah.
and this leads to yeah. Oh no, also players do definitely do listen to the music, but
Well, yeah.
we are reliant on hit sounds. So let's say I'm playing a game that does not have hit sounds, like oh, it's not key sounded. Let's say like I don't know, some Vortex. Nostalgia is key sounded, but it's more like okay, let's say like Osumania or Eterna without like hit sounds. They will always hit early because you know when you press a key, the sound will be later, right? But for us, we're used to we press the moment the beat is there.
Ah,
So we
okay.
rely we time it to our inputs. We don't time it to the sound our inputs make.
I
And
I
this
kind
is
of get what
why
you mean.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
actually can't play with hit sounds. I find them very annoying. Like I, I like to listen to the music itself, or I just go off my own key taps. Because, especially when I'm trying to play on, like I played on Judge 7 for Eterna
Mhm.
for like accuracy stuff, which is an 11 millisecond window for Marvelouses, so it's very
Mhm.
strict. And if I heard a hit sound the whole time, actually we have something kind of like that. It's called the clap. So you would just always hear like a
Some Vortex has
clap
that too.
instead. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
pretty useful. But the hit sounds I've noticed in Osu, I can't stand the noise of them. Or like how the sliders count as hit sounds too. Like that throws me off. Frankly,
I
I know it
agree.
keeps people on track, but for me it throws me off so hard.
No, for me, it doesn't even make any freaking sense, especially in a rhythm game. If you think about it, if you listen to an also player play a map without if you don't listen to the song they're playing, actually even if you did listen to the song they're playing, but if you don't hear hit sounds and you hear the key presses, you don't hear it going to the music at all because there is no like the you know the end of the slider counts as a beat in also
Yeah.
standard. Yeah. Right. So I was saying, so also players are very reliant on they press the time they're supposed to press it, you know, like they rely on like input timing. Yeah. While other people in other rhythm games they rely on like their button press on timing, right?
Hmm.
To give you an idea of like how bad this is, it's like I am very particular about inputs because of this. So this is why I couldn't stand playing on Android phones when I was playing mobile running games because you know inputs is not instant.
No.
So I had to
Yeah.
move to yeah, it's not, and so I moved to my iPad Pro, and that thing is so instant, it's amazing,
Wow.
and recently I realized that the whole input thing, which I'll go on to into about later, right, is
Mhm.
I play on -10 offset on Archaea. The instant input wasn't. It's just I still kept hitting early,
Yeah. That's
and
fair.
then I decided to finally fix my the way I play because it's kind of messed up if you think about it. Like I should be hitting like the presses because if I don't hear my presses, how do I know if I'm on time? You know, it's
Hmm.
just this internal metronome going on that just what if it's off? If the song slows down, it instantly gets thrown off. You know that kind of thing. This is the problem also players have. The moment there is a BPM change and there's no hit sounds, you notice that they have no idea what they're pressing.
Yeah.
Yes. So I timed my hits my offset to the sound of hits, and you know what the actual offset that everyone be using on my iPad Pro to make it like sound like the hits, right?
Hmm.
It would have been 100 ms. So I was
Wow.
so this is how
That's a lot.
early I've been hitting compared to everyone else. This is the kind of input. Yes, it's crazy. It's
Wow.
crazy.
So I have a question for you in terms of your
Mhm.
content. So where exactly was the transition between like, okay, I like doing Osu content, but I really want to start dabbling into other rhythm games. Like I like these rhythm games. I think I know a thing or two, and I want to see what people think of what I think of them. Like when did that kind of hit you?
It was actually in the middle of 2018. At the time, I was still making my Fire Osu content, but I was already thinking on my head, okay, I can't do Osu content forever, obviously. What should I do next? Then I kind of like briefly said to my Discord server at the time, I want to do other rhythm games. And then instantly the entire chat got filled with, no, don't do that. You get even less people watching you. What are you doing? And I just looked at it and I
Wow,
was like,
what? That would hurt. That would hurt if someone said that to me. Damn, I'd be like, "Fuck you guys. I'm gonna do my own thing."
I mean, it's kind of at the time. I mean, I wasn't planning on transitioning immediately. It was more like an afterthought because I was thinking, yeah, one day I want to move to other rhythm games, but
Hmm.
I'm still playing also now, and I still don't know every other rhythm game. No hard feelings, no commitments. But when I saw that, I was like, that's kind of crazy because the Osu community is limited. That's why you notice the Osu YouTubers, they go from they usually like explode. They go like 30, 50,000 subscribers. Maybe they hit 100,000. But then
Mhm.
you notice from then onwards their growth is very slow. Because you pretty much absorb the entire Osu audience. But
Yeah,
you can get
that's
more,
a good point.
expanding.
I noticed a lot of
Yeah.
channels kind of stagnate fairly quickly when they hit a certain threshold. But I also think that's kind of how channels function to begin with. But I also think the market for Osu specific content is a bit limited. I think there's a noticeable cap like between
Yeah.
the players who just want to play the game, which is huge compared to people who want to see people talk about the game, which I think is kind of an untapped market, but also a market that's not quite large yet because I mean, in my opinion, I think there needs to be content made for it that will facilitate a large audience. Like, in my opinion, I think there should be more tournaments for the game. I don't think there's enough high profile tournaments that really get spectators watching and like heavily involved with the scene to the point where like perhaps sponsorships are looking out and stuff like that. Like I don't know.
Oh,
I noticed like there's not a lot of top player involvement with tournaments. Like they just kind of stream and they'll farm for PP or they'll like they I've never heard them say, "Man, I really wish I could play a tournament" or like something like that.
this is interesting because the thing is that this already exists, but it shows that there's not enough marketing for this tournament in particular. I think it was the Corsairs tournament or was it the Corsair? I don't know. They had a huge sponsor.
Hmm.
The prize pool right now, by the way, the tournament is still ongoing. The prize pool is 1.5K
Okay.
for the winner. It's huge. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
at
solid.
least for Osu standards, it's huge. I feel like there could be more hype around it because it's only big on Twitch. It's only big if you follow the top players,
Yeah.
but it's not it's not known. Like let's say, I honestly think that more people would know about my eye tracker video than this tournament that has been going on for like the past 2 3 years.
Yeah.
It's just kind of crazy if you think about it. I feel like there needs to be more like advertisement for this because the biggest way you could get something in is hyping it up.
I also think the commentators for Osu are not that good for the most part. There's a few that stand
Oh,
out to me that are rather entertaining, but I when I was doing my Vaxay video and I was watching what some of the commentators were saying during the gameplay, I'm like, wow, they just don't they just don't want to be here. They're just vibing, watching the match, saying a thing or two, but especially with like the official World Cup, I noticed before they started getting top players more involved, the commentary was just abysmal. Like I felt like I was watching someone who like knew about the game and was just like commentating it to commentate it.
I feel like I I agree. I expect more from commentators. I want to hear when two teams are going against each other. What I expect is I want to hear the commentator say, even if it's an obscure team, like let's say
Hmm.
World Cup, let's say
Like
a country that not many people know
like
about, like let's say
Argentina versus
Indonesia.
like Finland or something. Yeah, like an
Yeah,
obscure match.
you don't know who those people are, and then the commentators are like, this person, they are specialized in this skill set. They are the thing. This is what stands out from them. This is the kind of skill set they have, and you can
I think
see
there
them
should
that they
be
are going for this.
yeah, I think commentators should have some background knowledge beforehand. Even if they prepare a day beforehand, they can gather a lot of knowledge about the game. And that goes for a lot of that goes for a lot of rhythm games with commentators. I've noticed they're just you can be expressive, you can be explosive and like be a hype man or whatever, but if you're not saying what's going on or what like X player is good at, you're not really bringing a lot to the table. And
I
I
feel
understand.
like
I understand if you're providing to a casual audience, you don't really have to an extent. But I feel like if you want to educate others and get people into the game, they should be able to know what the hell is going on.
I feel like there needs to be. I mean, if we want us to root for the underdog or even the overdogs, we need context. We need a reason to care about these people.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. I don't.
Background info is so
I just
important.
hear, oh, X player is doing good. Let's see if he drops combo. I hear that a lot. It's like it's almost like in Smash Brothers when when a commentator says nice back air. Like it's the most common thing you hear, and it's so I don't know, it's just so oversaturated. Like every player says it.
What's a back air?
Oh, a back air? It's just when you I'm trying to think like how I would explain it. Where's my GameCube controller? I don't know. It's when you just hold.
Sorry.
It's when they just. I don't know how to describe this. I'm so dumb because I haven't
Is
played.
it when you jump and do a backflip or something?
No, so you jump and you know how if you can, you can like knee someone, like if you like need someone in the chest, like that would be a forward air because it's moving forward, like your knee is going forward
Uh-huh.
towards them. Maybe they do a move where they like kind of like move their arm backwards or like they throw their arm backwards at them or something. And since it's a side scroller, like if you're like they just do something like that, that's a back air. That's probably a terrible example,
Oh,
and I probably
no,
just
no.
like
I
embarrassed
totally get
myself
it.
in front of every Smash person ever. But I froze.
No, no, no.
I froze up as soon as you asked me because I was like, shit. How do I describe that?
I feel. I mean, I feel like. I mean, in the end, right? What matters is if I get the rough idea, and I feel
Right.
like even this is what even commentators are failing to do. They're not even giving people the rough idea sometimes. Like in the end, right? Most people are just so not invested in watching matches that just like of let's say Argentina versus Finland, like you said, right? They could have. I feel like there needs to be if you have a good commentator personality going on, even if it's the solo man or like two people going on about the match,
Hmm.
if they have this good dynamic going on, if they educate us about the players, they have great personalities, you can make a match where people would not normally care about the players come in to watch any other match these commentators talking about because you just get invested in the stream.
Hmm. No,
Yeah,
yeah, I absolutely agree. I think people just need to do a bit of research before their matches. And they also
I
need
know,
to be
right?
pretty knowledgeable about the game. I just don't want to hear like, oh, combo, good combo. Oh, he broke. Oh, he has a good combo. Oh, he's coming back. Like it's just a very, I don't know. It's like non-commentating. Like you're just stating what's going on.
And I feel like sometimes the commentators they don't seem to completely understand what's going on in the map pool.
Yeah, they just
And then sometimes I hear commentators say, "Oh, they banned no mod one," and I'm just like, "What's no mod one? What is it?"
I don't know.
It's just labeling for which part in the pool, right? So like if there's five no more maps, it will be like the first in the spreadsheet. So like let's say the first song is like let's say Airman, the second one is Big Black, the third one is Scarlet Rose. So betting no more one would mean that you're betting the first map, which is Big Black in the no more pool.
Hmm.
So but the thing is that every pool is different. You say okay, we're betting no more one, and then as me as a person who's not even invested in like looking up the songs that these people are gonna play, right? I'll be like, what's no mod one? But I might
Yeah,
be
that's a
wrong.
little
I don't watch
confusing.
tournaments, It's confusing. It's confusing.
Just out of curiosity,
Mhm.
is there any rhythm game you're trying to become like very invested in again, or perhaps like I don't want to say like striving to be a top player, but is there any game you've thought about maybe trying to really hone in on and just kind of see how far you can progress in it? Because I know obviously you dabble in a lot of rhythm games, and I've tried to do that too, but I know you
But
were
it's easy to mean something, right?
but I know you were once a top Osu player. Like you were pretty talented, like had some very respectable scores. And I don't know, I was just curious like
Why did I quit?
what made you drop like consistently playing Osu at a top level? And what game would you think about transitioning into if you had time to invest all of it into one game? What would you invest it into now?
All right. So the reason why I dropped Osu was because I started making Osu content. I just stopped having the time to play,
Hmm.
and then I started falling off. And actually, honestly, when I first started doing YouTube content, I still could gain rank. Actually,
Hmm.
it wasn't like completely die case. But oh man, at the time I had an ex who like wanted to be on voice call me all the time, and that just made me not want to play Osu, man.
Yeah.
Like there's no way I can play Osu and be competitive on a voice call, right? And then like if it was all the time and like I felt bad asking him to screw off, and like eventually it's just okay. I guess I'll just quit the game, and then I just never turned back, never came back, and I guess it was a good thing because oh my god, the time I quit, right, the game started getting a little too competitive for me actually.
Interesting.
Like the rate players are playing now, their improvement rate. I feel like okay, other than my washed upness, I feel like it's too much. It's too crazy. It's straight up insane. Like being a 4 digit, let's say okay, if you're rank 1,000, back then if you're rank 1,000, I personally would be like, ugh. But now you're rank 1000. I'm like, holy shit, you're actually really good. You know, the thing has changed so much. It's actually crazy.
Yeah.
It's not even about farm maps. Like the farm maps are it themselves. They are really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's see. What game want to get going? I'm actually thinking of making a arcade vlog. I'm not really a fan of vlogging. You know how stupid I look with like my camera, like, hey guys, and then like the public is gonna be like, what the hell is this guy
I
doing?
would not be comfortable with vlogging either.
I
I couldn't do
wouldn't.
it.
I would not be comfortable. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna sit in my place and be like, "Hey guys," in front of my PC, and then just bring my camera, put it at the tripod stand, point it at the arcade machine, and not talk, and pretend the camera isn't there, so
Right.
nobody would notice that I'm recording. Maybe that's what I'm gonna do. I'm planning to make a vlog. It's not exactly a vlog. It's more like I'm going to get Infinite Done on some Vertex.
Oh, okay.
It's yeah. So that's what my goal right now is just to get Infinite Done. Would I aim for being a top player in some Vortex like Infinite and Halo, aka like like getting incredibly high scores on every song?
Mm-hmm.
Um, no. Oh my god, I don't know if you tried enough, but some Vortex is such a tiring game.
It looks tiring.
It's the
Because the
I
buttons
think
seem
out
a
of all
lot
the
harder to press too.
yeah, I mean out of all the rhythm games that doesn't include the dance games, right? Like some Vortex is by far the most spammy one.
Uh,
Like okay, I mean there's
Elaborate on that.
2DX. No, 2DX has like it's the carpal tunnel simulator, RSI simulator. Some Vortex is where their difficulty purely relies on their high BPM.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's all. But then like 2DX is all like the songs are coming, but then you don't know what the hell is going on the screen. I mean, just listen to me. I mean, this song is a banger, but it doesn't sound as crazy as I don't know, boom 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 like some Vortex. If you
Yeah.
notice, every single Sun Vortex song is over 200 BPM. I mean, as in the 20s, there is no song that's under 200 BPM.
Yeah, that
And
makes
two,
sense.
there's only one song that's 200 BPM. The rest is all 220 and above. Yeah, it's crazy.
I would like to
I
see a
mean,
dump chart in Sound Voltex, like just some nonsensical pop song, but it's like a 20. Like it's just very overblown. I feel like that'd be low key pretty fun.
I mean, technically, there's the April Fool's chart. Hey, have you seen it?
I have not
There was this
actually.
one. Okay, so there's this April Fool's chart in Sound Voltex that's the tutorial song,
Oh, okay, that's kind of funny.
and it's very hard.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yes, yeah, that was
I'll have to look
funny,
that up
but it
then.
also did this, but it's also the fucked up lane shifts and like angle stuff. Like they made it, they increase and decrease the speed whenever they want to, even though it doesn't make sense. And that's basically what they did. Maybe next game I should move on to after some vortexes. After getting Infinite Done is I was telling myself to play more 2DX, but then I also need to play more Psycho. At this point, I think I just right. I wanted to ask you something. So
Go for it.
what would you call a respectable, like cool person, like a rhythm gamer, in your opinion?
Like
Like,
who's a rhythm gamer I like in particular?
no,
like a
like what makes someone like respectable or like cool to you in like the rhythm games? Like what kind of player do you like?
Oh, I don't know. I just like someone who looks like they care about the game a lot. I like seeing someone genuinely have fun with it. And there's one player that always comes to mind. His name's Zetarux.
Mm-hmm,
He's an In the Groove
mm-hmm,
player, and
mm-hmm.
he doesn't play In the Groove really anymore. But by God, is he one of the most entertaining, explosive, like just he's just a ball of joy. Like he's one of the funniest people you'll ever meet on and off camera. Super knowledgeable about the game too, a top player. Like he's basically the whole package. And there's not a lot of people who know about him outside of the In the Groove or dance game community. Like he's basically what I consider to be an underground gem. Like a very genuine guy who knows probably more than almost anyone in dance games does. And he's super entertaining
If
on top of that.
if he has a channel, I need to watch it, watch his videos,
Oh,
if any.
his old stuff is very interesting, and there's a lot of videos of him doing some interesting things too. But he's very
I
entertaining, a
see.
very fun personality, and a top. And like I said, he was one of the best ITG players ever at the time, like in almost all regards.
I see.
But yeah,
I think
I just like seeing people have fun with the game.
I feel the same way actually. My philosophy doesn't extend to just being good at a game though. I
Right.
just like watching people enjoy the game.
Yeah.
It doesn't. They don't need to be good, and I feel like people just purely competitive shaming people than like letting people like play what they want and have fun. Because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the person who is just minding his own business, but you can see that they're really treating it as a hobby, but they also are excelling it at some way. I feel like that's like respectable, especially when they get really good at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And I
you
think
notice that the top players
and I
get
think
like
they
this
have
usually.
I think it's an internal competition, if anything, which I think is completely healthy. And this kind of goes into what I used to talk about before, which is knowing when to be competitive. Like, you should have the choice to be competitive when you want to be, and when you say, "Oh, I don't feel like playing like all out today or whatever." Like, you should have that liberation to do so, and you shouldn't get critiqued for doing otherwise. Because I noticed there was a
A lot of
weird
people can't do it, right?
yeah, I noticed there was a weird surge in people saying like, "Oh, you're being very over competitive," or you shouldn't be like. It was almost like people were saying you shouldn't be competitive at all, or like a game's too competitive. It's like, no, the game isn't inherently competitive. It's the players who choose to be super competitive. You don't have to be yourself. You can do what you want. No one is forcing you to get rank ones or whatever. Now, I do understand that there's some sort of pressure if you are a well enough known player to excel to an extent, but sometimes you just gotta be transparent with your viewers and say, hey, I don't feel like going for number ones today, or I don't feel like doing this today. Just let me enjoy the game, and maybe I'll do it tomorrow or next week, or I want to take a break. Like, there's no there's no competitive and non-competitive. Like, you can choose when you want to be.
I feel like this movement is a pushback to the competitive culture. I mean, at least I've seen this happen a lot in Osu. They have this okay, let's say the younger viewers, let's say, especially on Twitch, they tend to spam the few top songs
Right?
and
Yeah.
ask them, get the
Obviously.
new number one play, that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
it gets the person streaming like annoyed and all that. And not only that, the other people who are seeing this who do not agree with it, which most of us don't, they kind of get annoyed, and that's why there's this pushback movement. Like that's why they're saying don't be competitive. I mean, I feel like it's the two opposite ends of the spectrums, which does not make
Yeah,
any
there's no
sense.
balance. Like a lot of the competitive spirit relies on you as a person. Like, no one is forcing you to be competitive. And most rhythm games are not that inherently competitive. Like, just because they have a leaderboard system doesn't mean they're that competitive.
Right. I wanted to say about that. Like I noticed that okay, a lot of people in Osu, or no, a lot of people in general in rhythm games, they seem to be obsessed with the idea of making an improvement each session they make each day, each
Mm-hmm.
time they play. And it's kind of crazy because sometimes I come into my session usually thinking that because like I don't usually play my game, let's do something cool, that kind of thing. And then I'll play and I'm like, oh no shit, I'm doing badly today. Okay, if I'm doing badly today, let me just play something I like. People seem to not realize that usually people their alternate kind of mindset is I'm not doing something well today. I'm gonna keep trying anyway, and then get frustrated by the end of my set.
And I think mindset's a thing in general with rhythm games that isn't articulated well enough. And I think when people
Mhm.
do talk about mindset, it's usually very cliche advice like, oh, if you're doing bad, take a break. Or if you're doing this, cool off, take like a 5 minute. Like, it's not really that simple. Like, from what I've seen, like, obviously, if you want to get
Mhm.
better at something, you're going to have to be hard on yourself to an extent. Like I said, everything has moderation in some form. Like, I
Mhm.
like to try and discipline myself while I'm playing if I want to really improve. And
Mhm.
it's people should realize it's normal to get annoyed. It's normal to get pissed off. It's how well you can control it that will dictate your progress in the game and your mentality.
I
Like,
could have sworn what you're talking about. I feel like someone made a video about that. They were talking about how mindset impacts your performance.
right. But I
Yeah,
think it shouldn't.
that's crazy.
People
Mhm.
kind of play it a little safer than, like, like, oh, if this happens, you should just step away, or this and that. Like, sometimes I'm gonna, and this is, I don't know if this is considered controversial, but if you want to maintain your physicality, sometimes you have to force a session every once in a while. Whether if you like, you could just play for an hour, get your minutes in, and then just move on. Like, especially for games that are very physically driven.
Straining.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because if you don't play enough, and this goes into the whole thing about muscle building in general. In order to build
Mhm.
muscle, you have to strain the muscle. That's how
You have to
muscle
make sure that
building
you're
works.
trying. You need to make sure you're trying to achieve your like your one best rep, that kind of thing. If you lift lighter weights, you're not going to be able to lift a heavier weight that you lifted once before. You know.
Yeah, and obviously you're not gonna do well every time, and you're gonna get pissed off, and maybe you'll just keep getting flustered and whatever. But I guess what I'm trying to say is like it is okay to be hard on yourself sometimes.
Mhm.
That's what there's a difference between being unnecessarily hard on yourself and discipline. I think those two can get very intertwined because, people are like, "Oh, don't take it so seriously." But at the same time, if you want to be good at something, you have to put the hours in. You have to put the effort in too. Like you're not sure if you're just playing the game to play the game. Yeah, do that. There's no reason to get upset if you're just playing casually. But if you want to be good at a game that involves improving from a physiological standpoint, you're gonna have days where you're gonna not play, but you might have to play.
I've noticed when it comes to Osu, if you want to go pro, right? They're clocking in 12 hours a day in the game.
Which I think is stupid. I don't think that's
It's actually
necessary.
ridiculous. No,
Um,
it's actually crazy. It's I would say it's they usually go about 6 to 12 hours, but I've
that's
seen so
unnecessary.
many go for 12 hours. But the thing is, the difference between also and like every other written games is not too. It's not. Doesn't take as much effort to get it down. But also is so reliant on your muscle memory. You miss a day, it might be gone.
I
Like
gotcha.
the absolute precision, the point on your tablet.
No, and especially with
It's
muscle memory as opposed to like developing muscles. It's, obviously if you put more hours in, you'll develop more muscle memory. But
Mhm,
I haven't done research into this specifically, but I'd imagine you
mhm.
reach a certain point where if you're playing for so long, the amount of gains you're going to make are going to be little to none. Like by the time you get to hour 4, hour 5, 6, and 7 are really not going to do that much for you. And that's where
That's
I mentioned this
that's
before,
personally what I feel.
and it's a classic economics term. It's called diminishing marginal utilities, where you start off really good and you're basically what's called overtraining, but it doesn't feel like you're overtraining because you're improving so fast. But you get to the point where you just kind of level out here, and maybe you'll have some bumps, but then if you train really hard, you'll start to actually fall down instead. And
Yeah,
overtraining is a very um, complicated thing with rhythm
common
games because,
thing.
well, it's also a little
Mhm,
complex too because it's hard
mhm.
to dictate what caused it. But in my opinion, I think it's always overplaying. It's very
I
easy
think
to
it's.
overtrain at rhythm games because they're so goddamn fun sometimes. You just want to keep playing them.
I feel like to me it's like overtraining, overplaying is the point where like your focus is kind of gone after like sitting there for so long.
Yeah.
That's what I feel, at least to myself. That's why I stopped myself after 3 to 4 hours. At least when I was addicted back then.
Hmm.
The thing about people playing, the top players playing for like 6 to 12 hours, that kind of thing. It's not because they are trying so hard to improve that they're clocking this many hours. It's because it's straight up they're this addicted to the game.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
look at
I,
Aryu. Aryu plays for a half hour a day, and he's destroying like so many people who play supposedly like 8 hours, like they're clocking in 9 to 5s at Osu. Aryu is putting that notion to shame by having a relatively healthy and albeit a bit safer of a play style for Osu. But my God, like he got second at one of the, I forget which tournament was it. I think it was a game Osu where
mhm.
he got second and took a couple points off of Axe. Like if that shouldn't shame you for overplaying and playing way too much, then I don't know what will. Like just my philosophy is, at least for certain games, no longer than 2.5 hours.
In
I
my opinion, also it's if you want to go competitive, it's 3 to 4 hours.
it
But
might be, yeah, it
usually
might be a
by
little
the
different for Osu. I can
yeah,
probably agree with that.
but
But
for also by the third or fourth hour, usually your focus starts to go away by that time.
yeah.
And another thing about also is that is personally it's the game that takes me the longest to warm up for out
Hmm.
of all the games I've tried. Yes. So I
Interesting.
have no idea how Iru can do all that stuff in half an hour. How do you
Yeah.
even manage to warm up in less than 5 minutes?
I can, it takes me about a half hour to warm up for the most part. It's funny because
Same.
in Eterna, there's a lot of players who tell me Yeah, I don't even warm up. I'm like, what do you mean you don't warm up? I'm like, you're a freak. And it's top players who tell me this. I'm like, and I guess this is where the whole genetics thing comes into play. God forbid I throw that term around.
I don't think.
You've never heard the whole
Oh
genetics
God,
craze with rhythm
I,
games?
I, um, I personally think that genetics exists, but people are making it sound
I'm gonna take
like
that out of context. What a statement. Someone
that
give
was
her
this
someone give
that
Tokaku her
was the
PhD.
single that was the single most hottest take I ever made. Genetics exist. I
You
think
should
they
get a
exist.
PhD for that. But anyways,
But right. So I think the problem with the discourse is that everyone seems to say that genetics, the whole genetics argument is like they try to make us. I think it feels like they're pulling a straw man out of us. Like when I say genetics exist, they make it sound like genetics is all it takes to get good. That's not true.
no, it's not true. Yeah, it's they
It's
they
not true.
they throw it around like it's a dictation of skill.
Yeah, it's not. It's
No, but
it's it's
there
clearly not.
like there's just some people who have naturally better or like faster twitch muscles. Like that's just how it works, and that's fine. But it's definitely not something you can't train though. Like obviously fast twitch muscles are harder to acquire than say like, like learning like teaching a sprinter or teaching someone who's not fast already as a sprinter to be a sprinter is 10 times harder than teaching a distance runner to be a good distance runner. Like distance runner is a much more learned process where sprinters are more like talented, but they still put in a shit ton of work though. That's the thing. That's what people forget about. Like most coaches in track and field will tell you, yeah, he's just naturally fast. He's one of the fastest kids like I know, and he's just got, good fast twitch genetics. But there's a lot of like, you can still get close to that point. And then there's also a lot of other things you can do too. Like you don't have to be just a sprinter. You can do like mid distance or something like there, and that's kind of how it is with rhythm games. You don't have to be super fast. You can be good at FCs. You can be good at accuracy. Like you can be good at so many other things in rhythm games, which is why I think the genetics argument is so bullshit when they try to use it to the extent they do. Like,
Because people don't seem to understand that technically when it comes to genetics, everyone is has a potential to be really good at something. Like
mhm.
all these people on the internet right now arguing about genetics, they might not even know that they actually have the genetics to become an extremely amazing like model. Like imagine those people could be like a body underwear model if they actually worked out.
Bodybuilder.
Like bodybuilder for those ads, like the kind way that the pecs are actually, and the pecs and the abs are all like actually like symmetrical, which is very difficult to get, by the way. But they wouldn't know because they never tried. They're too busy arguing about also genetics, I guess.
Well, also bodybuilding's a little different because there's drugs involved, but
Okay, so the thing about it's possible to actually get that kind of body with naturally, except that maybe you wouldn't be as swole
not as swole. Yeah,
or
that's what I'm saying. No, you can definitely get a good physique. I guess I was saying like bodybuilding, not like modeling. Modeling's a bit different than bodybuilding. Bodybuilding's
modeling
like
can actually
bodybuilding.
bodybuilding
You're
is
putting
crazy.
your life in danger.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, modeling for the most part could actually be done naturally, but I
Oh
think
yeah,
most
I
people
think so
usually
too.
use steroids and
Or
stuff.
they use like
And
HRT and
yeah, the difficult thing about modeling though, I mean, like making muscle is or being a model, right? Is that you gotta make sure that your body fat percentage and your water amount is really low.
probably like
That's why the muscles stand out.
under 10% body fat probably. Yeah.
Yes. How do you get here?
I don't know. I actually low key I actually follow a lot of weightlifting and powerlifting, so
Oh shit, same.
really? I follow
Yeah.
quite a bit of it. I started following strongman about 2-3 years ago, and then I transitioned into
Mhm.
powerlifting, then Olympic lifting, and then I don't know. I just follow. It's a weird, cute like it's a weird way I got into it. I forget how, but one day I just started watching it. I think it was Brian Shaw, and then it's just I don't know. I just kept going from there. I subscribed to so many channels like Juji Mufu and Brian Shaw and like Eddie Hall and
For me, it was more like the fascination behind the human body.
yeah, that too. No, I think it's a very fun sport to follow because there's so much detail to it, and there's such a vibrant community around it too.
I personally want to start lifting myself. Oh, actually, I did used to lift. I quit though. I lifted for maybe a month or two, and then I quit because I felt really socially awkward, and it gave me anxiety being in the gym. It's school gyms, and then
Oh, that'll
like
yeah.
all the girls are on the cardio machines, and I'm like the only little girl aside trying to do a deadlift.
You got the basically the mall walkers just strutting on the treadmill with like a 2% incline.
And then and then all the other guys would be like looking at this girl like, what is she doing?
I mean, if anything,
Yeah.
honestly, it depends what gym you go to. But some gyms have like really wholesome environments. Like they anytime they see you even lifting a weight, they're like, "Yo, massive respect." As long as you kind of
I'm
know what
sh-
you're doing, like they'll be like, "Yo, here, hey, here's how you could fix your technique better." I'm like, "Oh, thank you, Chaddington."
I'm Chaddington. Oh man, and then we have our bread lifters. Wait, I used to remember all the names, but I forgot already. Okay. And then I yeah, I stopped because it's not because I felt that like the people didn't like me. It's more like I was just too anxious. I knew people in the gym are nice. It's just I'm too
Hmm.
anxious. It feels
Yeah,
like I'm taking up someone else's spot that could be lifting at that moment because people queue.
yeah.
Like there's people out there lifting for like 3 hours a day, 3 hours like 5 times a week, and then I'm here like, hey, my reps they finish in like half an hour. It's so
We should just
embarrassing.
start a podcast
Fitness
about yeah,
podcast.
fitness podcast. I'd be down for that.
Let's go for it.
We'll
I think
just
I talked about it on Twitter a little while ago, but let's get back on track. Rhythm games.
yeah.
So
So I was actually thinking about
mhm.
weightlifting and rhythm games about how they can. I've actually heard that it can impede your performance. I've heard that from someone who lifts weights
Impede
quite a
as
bit,
in
and
makes
as
it
in like make
worse.
it worse.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know if it's the soreness that comes with it, or that since you're already lifting, it makes you tired by the time you want to play, because it's too much. It's just too much on your muscles. Maybe it's from what I'm guessing. But at the same time, I don't know. Actually, I heard that that was just one person. So like, for all I know, I can be wrong. But because like obviously you're and let me backtrack. I think one of the
Mhm.
main things is that it can be hard to target the specific muscles you use for rhythm games. Like I kind of know what muscles I'm using, but I don't know exactly what I'm using. Like I know I use my shoulders to an extent, like my elbows come into play, my forearms and stuff like that. But if you're a wrist down player, you utilize your wrists more, and you utilize your fingers more depending on how far your fingers are out. Like there's so much muscle differentiation depending on your technique. So I feel like
Exactly.
it's also hard to like target the muscles. But there has been talk
I feel
about
like
lifting and
mhm.
improving rhythm games, but so far there hasn't been any glaring evidence.
I feel like about the muscle memory thing and like the muscle groups. I feel like the reason why I haven't been able to get back into Osu is because um I forgot the muscles I use for Osu standard. The thing is that the skill is there. In fact, my skill is better than how I play
Hmm.
normally. Except the thing is, I haven't. I need to find the exact position I used to put my hand on the tablet, and then I will unlock the
Very
skill. And then not
particular.
only that, right? Not only that, right? I realized that my chair and table height is wrong from what it used to be, and I need to figure that out. And then
Oh,
there's
yeah, that'll
just
do it.
there is so much things going on
Just
here,
like
and
little
I just cannot.
discrepancies.
Yeah.
It's funny because
Right.
I'm
Mhm.
really lazy with technique. I should probably like I rely way too much on my natural knack for just I don't know. I could just play in really any environment on whatever keyboards. Like I could play. I'm very adaptive to like new stuff with rhythm games, but man, I feel like I would probably improve a little more if I actually took the time to understand my technique. Because if you look at my technique from some of my older videos, I'm like a T Rex playing, but I'm playing like perfectly fine, like on the screen. But if you look at me, I look like fucking. Have you ever seen Fairly Odd Parents? Have you ever heard that show?
Wait. Yes, yes.
Yeah, you know Mr. Crocker, they got the hunchback.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's I was like hunched over all the time because right now I obviously have a pillow that I keep myself propped up on. But I used to have a bad
Hey, same.
habit of being on the I would be on the edge of the chair, like I would be on the edge of it, so that way I could have my legs
Yes.
spread out, and it would just make me feel more comfortable. And then I'd hunch over, and that's how I played, like all the time. I played like that for years. Luckily, I run, so I keep my body moving and keep my muscles loose. But God, if I wasn't active, I don't know what my body would be like.
Oh my. Wait. Real quick question. Okay, this is to test if your neck position has been healthy. Touch the back of your neck.
Touch the back of it.
Okay, go down a little further. Do you feel this bump? Like a
Uh,
ball? Like
Not
near the
really.
base? Really?
A ball?
You don't? Like a ball bone, a hump that's coming out.
Like
It's quite distinct.
no, because then I start to get near like on my neck specifically. Not really. Like how I'm a little lost here.
Here, it's like this point.
There's something there.
Yeah, so the more that feet that hump like juts out, right? It's the worse your position actually is.
Oh
It's
shit.
so it means that like nerd neck, like that. After over time your body starts to adapt to this. So and then that's causes this muscle this bone here to rise.
Oh, that's
And then
interesting.
when you try to stand straight, this ball is like clearly felt. Which I
Oh,
can feel by the way, because
I kind of do that when I play. I've
posture is
gotten
bad.
better at just like kind of maintaining like my position. Like I'll try and play it just like this. Like I'll try not to lean in. I've gotten better at that, but oh yeah, I would do that, especially when I was a kid. Like I was, and there's other players I know who are really bad with that. Like they would look directly at the screen.
It gets quite bad. And not only that, the problem with having this at the back of your neck, not only is terrible for your posture, when you try to fix your posture, your neck feels uncomfortable. Like it becomes strange. Like the uncomfortable position becomes your default comfortable position. Anything other than that is uncomfortable.
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of rhythm gamers, not and gamers in general, they aren't taking care of their posture when they play
No,
games.
and I
Yeah,
doubt.
they're
Yeah,
definitely not. I mean,
that's
the
a.
closest thing to where people have like a decent posture probably is the arcade games where they force you to stand up. So you got to stand, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Except for 2DX, people are just doing like crazy splits.
If I could sit play, oh man, I don't know if I'd be able to play. I actually suffer more standing than I do running. I can't. I hate being on my feet standing in one position. I would rather run 10 miles than stand for an hour straight.
I don't understand how arcade gamers stand it like standing in one spot. In the first place,
Looks miserable.
the human body isn't like suited for you to always stand in one spot. It's bad for your feet.
Yeah, like I'm not a cashier or something trying to stand in one spot for 8 hours. I'm trying to play
Oh
a
no,
rhythm game comfortably.
even cashiers, them standing in one spot like 8 hours straight
Oh
is
my
also bad
god.
for their body.
Yeah, I know
Actually,
it is.
standing is
That's what I'm
good.
comparing it to. Like that sounds horrible. Like I want to enjoy
It's
myself when I'm
awful.
playing a rhythm game. I don't want to be standing the whole time. I feel like my legs would lock
Yeah,
up. Like I'd have to stretch my hamstrings like after every song.
and then the really sad thing is that there's so many players out there who make fun of people who like stack chairs to sit to play the arcade games. Yeah, it's actually a thing.
Oh man, I would
I
shame them
don't.
back for thinking like that.
Yeah, like I see people like I remember someone making fun of the chair sitting at like a sound vortex machine. Like look at they were I think they were making fun of how many chairs that is, and at the same time I also forgot why they were making fun of that person. I
Yeah.
mean, on one hand it makes it really obvious that they play at home
Mhm.
because controller most some people would just sit while playing,
Right.
and then on the other hand it's like uh I guess maybe they don't like it because this person is hoarding all the chairs. I mean, that is an understandable statement. But it looks like the hotel chairs of the mall, not the arcade chairs. I don't know. It's
I
just a
don't
weird
know.
sentiment.
I couldn't.
I feel like people should be given the option to sit.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'm trying to think of when I went to the arcade in New Zealand. I forget on the 2DX machine if there was a place to sit. I can't remember.
Honestly, I can see how 2DX is a game where they wouldn't mind giving a chair to people to sit, and people wouldn't make fun of that because in the first place, the floor metal pad is so tall, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't be too bad to put a chair on it. In fact, the height leveling for everyone would probably be a lot more consistent. But or you could be me, where I don't even need to power stance on that thing because apparently it just does not make a difference.
Yeah, there should be like adjustable chairs, I feel like, for a lot of rhythm games or games that, involve you to apparently stand up, but I think they should provide some sort of like cemented down spinny chair that has like adjustable height. Like you can get those for relatively cheap. It wouldn't be like a crazy expense.
Oh
Like
yeah, but the problem is that arcade owners, they're assholes.
yeah, some are, some can be. In
Oh
my
no,
experience, I've had pretty
a
good
lot of them are.
experience, and I've actually had pretty good experience with arcade owners. They're usually pretty nice.
Mhm.
But no,
For
there's
for the most
definitely
part,
some that suck.
okay, so the thing about is that in the West, right? If you see an arcade that's running rhythm games, it's clearly our passion. It's completely 100% our passion. In Asia, it's different, money orientated. So they treat players a lot worse. Things like they would refuse to change parts because like these games are not making money. We are doing charity work for you guys. And
Oh,
then the
that's so
dumbest thing is
toxic.
like I know, right? The owner owns two outlets. One is the rhythm game outlet, and the other is a family friendly casino. In other words, all the crane games, all that stuff that gives you tickets. I walked into that once. I was expecting at least some racing games to sit down and maybe vibe it, But no, nothing. It was all every single game out there. It's like conditioned to make you spend more money. And
That's
I looked at it and
wild.
I was like, that's actually crazy. And the place was so loud. It managed to be louder than the rhythm game like outlet. And I was like, wow. Then the owner would always like bitch at the rhythm gamers when we complain, like, let's say, okay, the soundboard's cabinet, the right knob is completely dead, and then we
Yeah.
would just tell him that, and he say he wouldn't care, or like the buttons are splashing, and he say it costs money to replace them, it's expensive, this the family friendly casino is making way more money. You guys, it's a charity work here. This place is the rhythm game outlet does not make money, like not even to break even. I think it does break even somehow.
Yeah.
And then but now the novelty has completely worn off, and the rhythm game outlet actually makes more money than the other outlet. Kind of crazy.
Wow.
Kind of crazy. And now that guy doesn't use the excuse anymore that we don't make enough money. Crazy.
I,
Crazy.
I wanna
But
I wanna start playing arcade games again. I just don't have access to them. I really don't. The closest arcade to me, I think there now is like I think it's called a round one. It's like a
round
yeah, it's like a
ones.
what like a bowling alley and arcade or something like that. I forget.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's one like a few hours away from me, but man, I don't know if I feel like traveling that far just to spend even more money on arcade because I feel like I'm gonna be tempted to go back then and spend a shit ton of gas money.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I really want to buy a DDR pad, but I have nowhere to put one. I have nowhere to put one in my house unless I somehow can make a like ghetto setup in my shed or something. But other than that, I don't know. I wish I had access to more rhythm games, like even Guitar Hero. I'm currently getting my guitar fixed by JP. Shout out to JP. And all I have right now is this really old. Oh wait, that's not it. But it's instead it's
Oh
just
my.
black. But I have this old SG Guitar Hero controller that's like pretty much broken.
That looks so scuffed.
I mean, it's a oh yeah, the sticker on it. Yeah, my mom bought this from someone like off of Facebook Marketplace. It worked for a
Was she
little
aware
bit.
of what it was?
Yeah, she knew. Well, she knew it was a Guitar Hero controller, and she knew I wanted one, and it actually worked fine. But then the green button got jammed, so now like it just sticks.
Oh boy, I think the only way to fix that is to like open the controller up, but I don't think you're up for that.
No. Well, I tried. Oh wait, no. Was it this one? Oh yeah, I did try opening this one. This thing's.
Oh my god, don't do that.
No,
What if the plastic
no,
snaps?
it's busted. I don't want anything to do with this.
Okay,
Like the strum bar
understandable.
sucks. Like it's as low quality of a guitar as you can get. And I'm getting my actual one fixed, and it's custom made. It was like
Custom made.
well more or less custom made in terms of like the interior. Like the strum bar is meant to be in a specific it's meant to be in a specific way. Like the switches, the buttons feel phenomenal. Like they're super light to press and they're very durable. Like the effort JP went through or has gone through and is still going through to make and refurbish all of these like lost cause guitars, he's doing wonders for the community, like making all these
Man, I should.
50 60
I
bucks
want.
too. He does not charge like
I
a big
want.
price, like 50 60
Man, I
bucks.
want. I want to buy one too now.
Oh yeah, I
I want
don't
to
know
go
if,
through that.
I don't know if his shop is open now, his eBay, but when it does get open, I would highly suggest following that because they are phenomenal. The only reason my guitar broke was because my computer decided to reset its drivers randomly and it corrupted my RAFnet, or not my RAFnet adapter, but it corrupted my guitar, and
How?
it showed the green button being held in the whole time. Like I couldn't fix it. When I sent it to him, he goes, I don't know what happened. I've never seen this. He goes, the wiring somehow got messed up. I said, yeah, that's what this piece of shit computer back here does. It just ruins things.
That is so interesting.
I know, I've
I
never
have
heard
never
of it.
seen a case like this before in
No,
my life. When I dealt with a lot of controller issues.
it corrupted my guitar, and the up strum would only occasionally work, and the green button was constantly held in. Everything else was perfectly functionable. It made zero sense. It was the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me.
That's actually impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, congrats on being the first person to have ever done this, I guess.
I know. I tried contacting so many people and like what I should do, and they're like, "Have you tried resetting the drivers?" I'm like, "Yes, I tried resetting the drivers 8,000 times. Nothing has worked. It's not the adapter." So I finally got around to sending it to JP like months later because the whole COVID stuff got in the way. Shit, I hope I don't get demonetized for saying that word still. I'm gonna
You won't.
not anymore.
Not anymore.
Okay.
It was lifted a couple months ago, actually.
Okay. I'm not up to date with that stuff, but but yeah, once that stuff happened, I just didn't get around to sending it. And the only way I was able to send the guitar, I threw away the original box. So I had, of course, my mom got this stroller, this dog stroller for her Chihuahua. So I put
Wait,
it.
what?
Yeah, look at it. It's a dog stroller for Chihuahuas, like for little dogs. You put the dog in the stroller.
Oh my god, I want to see it. You know, you're not obligated to post pictures.
I don't know where it is, but yeah. So I put that in the box and I sent it to him and he goes nice box, dude. I was like I didn't know how to explain myself. I was like, yeah. Imagine sending a Guitar Hero guitar in a stroller box.
I mean, it's creative. I gotta give you that. You're probably the first for many things. You ought to be proud of yourself for that.
I know. Shout outs to my gram for helping me package it because I had no idea how to package anything.
Really? Oh, I mean, for me, and then again, I have no experience in packaging things. For me, whenever I did package anything, I just stuffed styrofoam into it.
Okay. No, she did like a really stellar job. She like packed it very nicely, I think. At least I'm pretty sure she did. It looked good. But yeah, that was hopefully I get that back soon. I know he's a very, very busy man, so I give him all the time in the world to fix it because he does so much for the community.
Man, he reminds me of Mon. Have you heard of him?
I don't believe so.
Mon.im. That's his website.
Mon.im. What does he do?
A lot of things for the arcade gamers.
Oh, okay.
He's the creator of the Pocket Vortex.
The
if you heard of it.
Pocket Voltex. I've not heard of that, but that sounds really cool. I might have seen it. What? That's sick. I think I saw you. I think I saw that before. I think I saw that in your video before.
Hot swappable switches.
That's pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie.
Custom keys. They're definitely bigger than an actual like keyboard key.
How much is that?
These are different. Wanna guess?
Was it like 50?
No, it's 100 USD.
100. That's still pretty reasonable for like given how well it probably functions for its.
Free shipping.
Oh, actually, that's not bad if it's free shipping then. That's actually pretty
not bad
solid.
At all.
Yeah.
Oh right, you probably need to see this then. You probably thought it was 50 because you haven't. I mean, then again, you probably have seen it turned on since you said you saw it before. But oh my,
Yeah, that's dope.
that is beautiful.
That's really cool.
It's so cool. Custom that he made. It's so cool. I mean, I don't really know why people watched my video. I was like just fixing like his last batch had like.
I've never heard anyone say, I don't know why people watched my video, but
No. Like, okay, I have a spam channel.
I might have seen it
where
before.
I upload random plays or
Yeah.
random things. Okay, so okay, that was my spam channel. Okay, I have also my random channel. Okay, my second channel. Okay, so I have 3 channels in total. My second channel, I was talking about how the soldering thing wasn't working. It wasn't an actual review. Like, it's straight up a 14-minute video of just me there slowly taking the screws apart, soldering while just talking about something really random. And like over 1,000, 2,000 people were watching it. I don't understand. It's the slowest video I've ever made, but people still watched it.
I would probably
That's
watch that. That's intriguing to me. I would probably be interested in seeing people solder, especially specifically a rhythm game controller. I would probably.
That's true.
Yeah.
That batch, that generation I got that I showed you just now, they had a problem with the back part, the back plate. Basically the hot swap seats, right? the solder the company applied onto the seat was too light, so like it would not detect the key presses. So I had to resolder it myself.
Oh wow. Oh wait, you
This
might
one,
have. I think I remember you mentioning that before.
mhm.
Did I
It
show you
wasn't a
the
problem in
Etsy?
his previous
Did I
controllers.
show you the Etsy controller I got or the keypad?
It was white, right? Was
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Show,
yeah.
show it, show it, show it.
Let me see. Oh, where is it? I thought I put it up on the counter. I don't know what I did with it actually. I thought I put it to the side over here. Oh man, I'm kind of upset I don't know where I put it. I thought it was up here. No. Damn it. I don't know, but I was very impressed on how it performed, despite it having 3D printed keycaps.
3D printed keycaps.
Yes,
That's impressive.
I know.
Very impressive.
And it worked fine. Like I was setting PBs, like actual PBs of mine, like goals that I tried getting for months on that thing.
I'm actually more intrigued by the fact that the caps did not break.
Yeah, I know. I was pretty aggressive on it too. Like I didn't hold anything back.
Were the caps really thick or something?
Not really. Like they felt cheap. They definitely felt cheap, but they just stayed. Like they were fine.
Interesting.
I know. I'll have to maybe fiddle around with it a little more, but I have some footage saved for when I talk about it later. But yeah, stellar controller. Would I say it's worth the price though? And that's kind of my issue with keypads in general for Osu, because not only, I mean, if it's hot swappable, I guess it's worth the price in a way, but I wouldn't want to deal with my switches constantly like shitting the bed. Like I would rather have something a lot more durable like a keyboard where I have like almost unlimited amount of setups.
What do
I
you mean, like shitting the bed?
oh, just kind of over tapping or like just not functioning well anymore. Like
I see.
I've had switches like especially with past keyboards where especially my
Like
Matthias
they die,
linear
right?
keyboard, yeah, I've had them die in one session before. My
Oh
Matthias
man,
linear
what
keyboard when I played
what
on
kind of terrible keyboard is that?
Matthias linear switches, they were
Mhm.
I don't know what keyboard it was. It was like $150 and I never got around to returning it, but I kept it around just because it's cool to have around, I guess. But it's bad. It felt cheap, like it felt rubbery, but
Mhm.
by God, if you touched the key, it activated. It was super light and was kind of good for speed, but it could not do anything else. Nothing
Oh, so
else.
it was those kinds of light but brittle kind of things,
Very
right?
brittle. Like I had 5 keys.
Glass cannon.
Yeah, I had 5 keys over tap within like 2 or 3 sessions. I was almost out of setups by the time I finished using it. I couldn't use the keyboard
Oh,
anymore.
that reminds me of Ruchi's old user page where you can see him slowly start to cross out different keys that he used to use on his setup. He used to use like this Razer keyboard, and then you can slowly see
Uh,
him. You can see him like ZX, and then he would strike it out. Then he uses C and V, and he strike it out. He started using almost every single key on his keyboard, but it all broke.
one of the
It was amazing.
one of the best, and I still will say to this day, he was the most talented rhythm game player ever. His name was Vertex. He was a Stepmania player, but he played a playstyle called Index, where he played with 2 fingers only.
That's crazy. I think I've heard of him.
So he was able to do, like, obviously with Index, he plays single stream files, but he pushed it to the point where he was doing like 360 BPM, I guess in your OC term, like 1/4 streams for like 32 measures for like 20 seconds or something like that. Like he was streaming faster than almost 99% of Eterna players could with 4 fingers. Like it was astounding to see. And he did this like 4 or 5 years ago. He was doing this stuff. I tried getting
I
into
kind of
Index and I couldn't get close to him. I trained my
kind of
ass off trying to get to him.
I want to see a video of him doing that.
Here I'll send you one real quick and then I'll pull it up.
Wait, I need to see it
Yeah. Oops.
because his fingers must look insane.
Yeah. Hold on. Um. Oh yeah, I always forget his channel name's Justin S. No. What was that? 1.9 he played? Yeah. He fell off the grid 4 years ago and no one's ever heard of him since. No goodbye, no anything. He just left.
I
Um,
guess he moved on in his life. I hope nothing
yeah, he
bad
did.
happened.
No, I hope nothing bad happened too. I hope he's doing well. Uh,
Likewise.
yeah. Let's see here. What's a good one? Oh, here's him streaming. I forget how fast this is. This is like, yeah, this is almost 340 BPM like bursts, and he's like accuracy or getting good ac on them. Uh, there you go.
Right, I need to see this.
I guess go to like something like 45 seconds.
All right, one thing I wanted to ask. Something's not right. Like, I noticed my YouTube videos when I watch videos on YouTube, it takes some time to load.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like it loads takes time to load a page, even though my internet is basically flawless. I didn't have this issue last time, but now it's started happening. Like every web page takes time to load.
Yeah. Also, I don't have two monitors, so for the people watching, I'm gonna have to put something over it because I just have like a bunch of dumb stuff open. Like I don't know, I might have had accidentally like a video spoiler there. So if you saw a black screen for 20 seconds, I apologize while I was pulling up the video.
Wait, how? Wait, he straight up looks like
It looks
his
like it's
fingers
sped
are
up. It
breaking.
almost looks like it's sped up too.
Yeah, I actually did double take at my playback speed because like I usually watch fast things at like a faster speed, but then like straight up I checked in normal and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, he's amazing. He was like there weren't a lot of index players around the time, but there like he you couldn't even quantify his skill because it was just so out there, and anyone who even tried to replicate it couldn't even get close. Like we're talking months or even years of progress, like not even close. He was just that ahead of the curve. He was a genetic freak. That is where I could say he's a genetic freak because not like he was just able to not burn out. Like he kept improving. There was no such thing as burnout in his mind. When I asked him how he trained, he said he just played 300 BPM streams every day at one point. Every day. Just trained hard every day. I was like, how? I tried doing that and I was sweating after 10 minutes.
Endurance takes plays a huge part
Yeah,
in
his stamina was phenomenal.
this.
He could stream 300 for like 30 minutes, which is amazing forearm strength because he played wrist up. So he wasn't using the comfort of like putting his wrist on the table. He had his wrist hovered. So he was using nothing but forearm strength.
Oh, yeah,
That
that's
is
crazy.
insane forearm strength, like unmatched.
Not only that, he also had to like always like he has like the positions of those tiny ass
Oh, yeah, the arrow
keycaps
keys.
in
Yeah.
like his. Yeah,
Yeah. And his accuracy
I know
was
how.
insane too.
Yeah, like I know exactly how difficult this is because I try to play some Vertex with a keyboard now and then, and I hate it.
Yeah. There's probably no one, almost no one who can replicate that score to this day, actually. That accuracy. That is probably only doable on index for the most part. I don't think there are many people, if any, that can replicate that accuracy on four keys, with four keys.
That's crazy.
Yeah. His.
Actually, insane.
Mm-hmm. And that was 4 years
Wow,
ago.
4 years ago. Yeah, I could see like oh man, the video was like 360p, and I'm like, whoa, okay. Was it? Or did I just not load the video properly? I don't know. My internet's been like whack lately.
Yeah, I don't know if you just pulled up a video or something, but you kind of bugged out there.
It happens. It happens. It happens. Wait, damn it! I wanted to say something, but I forgot. Damn. All right, let me see. Uh, my brain straight up just fought on me. It was something interesting that I had in mind. Dang, I can't remember. We okay. I guess we will think. I gotta think of something else. Maybe I'll remember it later.
I'm trying to think what I had jotted down before. I think there was something else I wanted to ask, but I cannot remember for the life of me. Uh,
Yeah, I think I probably should have jotted down what I wanted to ask you because I cannot remember what I wanted to ask
okay,
you.
that's fine.
Huh,
Listen, I haven't done this series in a year. We're easing back into it. This
true, fair enough.
I
Fair
haven't
enough.
done a single pod. I think it's been over a year, something like that. It's probably been like almost a year and a half if I'm being real.
Mhm.
Um Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you like what your infatuation was with whether it was manufacturing or like engineering your own sort of controllers for videos, like whether it was a joke controller, whether it was like something a bit more serious. I always wondered what kind of inspired you to do that because there's no
Oh,
way
the
I could
curse
ever figure that stuff out.
controllers.
Yeah, like custom controllers. I always found those videos in
Mm.
particular to be really fun.
Oh, I'm a computer engineer student.
Oh, that'll do. That'll do it. That answers a lot, but I'm still kind of curious, like
I'm
what got you into it to begin with.
I'm not very good at what I do in school actually. In fact, I feel like school only taught me like the bare bones of everything.
Hmm.
Because I'm a computer engineer, I'm on the electrical side. I never actually touched the manufacturing part of it, like let's say the casing,
Okay.
the parts, or like the different things. I'm a computer engineer, not electrical one. So like if you give me a PCB, I cannot remember whatever I learned in electrical engineering anymore. I just look at the parts and I'm just like, oh, I think this is a capacitor. Oh wait, no, it's a resistor. Whoops. Never mind. I guess I don't know anything, I guess. It's ridiculous. But the thing is that I actually first started my first controller endeavor in when I was 17, which is 3 years ago,
Hmm.
3, 4 years ago. That was, remember Mon, I told you about that Pocket Vertex. I actually approached him saying, wow, I want that Pocket Baltic controller. And by the way, at the time I did not know that it was that he was making them and selling them. I thought
Yeah.
you had to make it yourself. So I said that okay, I want to try making like a controller like that. I'm gonna try practicing first. I'm gonna make an Osu keypad because it's the easiest thing to make because it's only 2 buttons, right?
Yeah.
So and that's why I asking for help. And at the time I was 17, I just started school. They weren't teaching anything yet. All they were teaching was I don't know how to count binary at the point. So I was
Hmm.
like, I went to learn how to program Arduino myself, and then my school started teaching it, and they didn't teach shit about it. So I was like, I kind of learned it myself.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, I started going on about it. I don't think my code is good at all. I go and pick it up, but it's underneath my bed. I
Hmm.
actually own a 2EX KOC, the controller, Konami official controller. You know, the one that was very like plasticky, it's
Yeah.
blue and white. That awful thing. Yeah, I bought one from Japan, and I kind of modded it to work with an Arduino that I got, and used it to play 2DX for a bit until like Yuan and like Dao sent me a controller. It wasn't good. Like I know my programming skills is not good. I think it has something to do with the button debounce, which I think most people who don't know programming will understand. But basically, what would happen was that I think there was a strange. I think there was like a 3 key rollover on this thing. I think there was a 2 key rollover. So basically, anytime I press a pattern that was more than 2 keys, it wouldn't actuate properly.
No.
And then it got worse with the whole note. So I never got above like four
Oh.
fives onto the X. So I was like, yeah. And then I couldn't get the scratch to work. So what I would do is take a mouse and then I would tape it onto the turntable.
Oh my god.
It was a very scuffed setup. But I really wanted to play 2DX at the time and I didn't want to play on my keyboard. So I was like, never mind, I will just play with this. It's terrible, but I will just go with it. And that's what inspired me to like start making like awful rhythm controller content. And I've stopped that series mainly because I feel like it's low effort.
Yeah.
But then
And I mean, I
it's
I
not
don't
low
know.
effort.
I get what you
It feels like
mean.
it's low hanging fruit kind of
That I
thing.
think that's the term I meant to say. Yeah, but in a way,
Yeah,
I mean, who the hell else is doing that stuff though? Who's making like scuffed custom controllers to the point where like they're goofily fun to watch?
that's true.
I wouldn't consider it low hand like when you talk about it as broad as that concept, yeah, it can be considered that, but I think
It's the
the
fact that
way you execute it,
you can't find it anywhere else. That's what
yeah.
the feeling is, right?
Yeah, and
I do
I think the
think.
style you put on it, like it's very, it feels very home-like. It doesn't feel like any like, it feels like you're actually making something like out of heart. Like you're really passionate about what you're making,
That's true.
as opposed to like here's what I'm doing. It's like this, and this. Like I'm gonna, make
Oh, you
everything
know,
perfect.
like engineering videos. Okay, not engineering. Like like you've seen those videos where people with Arduino, like the smart mirror one. That was a pretty big video back then. You see all these pristine, nice shots of people putting it together, making it look cool, the explanations, and then you see the product at the end. And me on the other hand, hey guys, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I copy pasted the code from the Arduino webpage. And I think you have a point,
I
and
think it's
I
very
should
honest.
finish that
It's a
series.
very honest type of content to make, which I always that's very admirable.
I don't think you actually did. There is one curse controller that I did make, but I believe many people did not watch. Actually, you. I don't know why I made a spin rhythm video. I guess at the time I was bored, and it so happened that email came in. I was like, okay, I'll make a video on this. Even though now that I think about it, I normally would not have made a video about spin rhythm. And it is the one video that I put a lot of effort in, but not many people watched. But if you notice at one part of the video, I straight up made a curse controller just for the game because like the
Oh,
thing
wait,
of spin
wait, yeah,
rhythm is
yeah,
that
I
you use
remember
a
that.
DJ table, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got the cheapest Pentium meter and a button, and then after I got the button, I realized that you could click down. You know, it was just a mess. That video was a mess, but it was fun. I guess my next curse controller video. Okay, I'll let you decide then. There are three things that Banggood sent me a long time ago that I was planning to use on curse controllers, but I have not touched them. And that's the three wackiest things, and yet I did not touch them. I used the other easier things for the previous version. So the next few ones are crazy, actually crazy, but you get to choose. Okay, so three options. What I thought was a sensor is actually a voice recognition module. I don't know what I'm going to use that for.
I have some
And the
ideas
next
with that
one-
already.
Yeah, and then the next one is it's something like a trackpad, or was it a touch screen? It's like an LCD screen but without the screen aspect. I don't know. And the last one is parts for a heart rate monitor. I said I don't know. It looks so scary. You know, the heart rate monitor. It's not the kind
I
like
love heart rate monitors.
it's not even the kind that's like you know, I think people who make those videos on like Beast, I think does he connect his Apple Watch to his like OBS or something? Do people do that?
I think he's wearing a chest strap because wrist heart rate is traditionally very inaccurate. Most people wear a chest strap. I wonder if I have one next to me.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't, but
because-
I found the SC controller.
Oh. Hey.
This thing's a beast.
Is the case like 3D printed too?
I don't know, but it's
Like look closely at the case. Do you see like diagonal lines on it?
there's not very good lighting where I'm sitting specifically.
You can run your fingers over it and you feel like if it's rough in a diagonal way.
Oh, maybe a little.
Oh, it might be 3D printed, but I'm surprised though. You know, normally when you 3D print like something as long as that, the plastic will start to flex.
Oh.
A flex as in like instead of being straight, because plastic cools down and like bends.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised it's straight.
Does
Yeah, it might not be 3D printed.
Nah, it doesn't really. It's not really that flimsy. It feels kind of strong.
Oh, 3D printed parts are strong.
Oh.
They are strong. It's more of like when it's being created, the process, because 3D printed stuff uses the hot liquid. So when it cools down, but the thing is really long, when it cools down, it will bend as it cools down because things contract.
Yeah. I gotcha.
Yeah. Wait, so I was saying about the chest strap thing, right? Is it like how does the chest strap look like?
So you basically put it like, it's like right here you put it, and it goes around you, and there's sensors on it where it like, I forget how exactly it works, but the sensors or whatever they're called on it are meant to like help with the heart rate or whatever. Let me see if I can.
Yeah. Oh, okay, go find
I'm gonna
it.
see if I can. Oh wait,
You found it?
this one doesn't work because I got a new one, but this is an example of a heart rate monitor. So this has like these little sensors, I guess. I think these are the sensors on this one. I don't know. The plastic strap kind of sucks. And then
That looks.
and then it's this part that like, I think this is like the Bluetooth part where it connects to your watch or like device. But
That looks so normal.
where, I don't know where my good heart, because the battery ran out on this one, and it was also just inaccurate in general at times.
I see.
You have to get like a soft strap, they're called, where like it's
So
a
you
lot
know that one
comfortable.
that one I got for programming. So basically, it doesn't look like that. You know, like in hospitals, you see the thing, the plastic thing, and then here's one cable coming out.
Oh my god, that
You
sounds
know, those
terrifying.
wires. It's so scary. That's why I was like, when I saw it, I was like, I don't really want to face this on my body. It looks like it doesn't look like it's gonna take my heart rate. It looks like it's going to electrocute me.
Oh my god, like a defibrillator.
Oh, I mean, yes. It looks like that. It's
Oh.
actually kind of freaky. And I was like, I mean, in a sense, right? If I really wanted to go with it, I could play Osu my heart rate, but it's the dumbest thing I can ever think of. But why would I do that? I mean, I guess I gotta make myself like, I propel myself into like having a stroke, and like just not stop my heartbeat. I guess I gotta go JoJo. I guess.
I actually love. I am very intrigued by heart rate in general. I love seeing people's heart rate fluctuate and how it responds to stress and how they respond to a high heart rate. Like what heart rate they struggle at, or if they're struggling, is it mental or is it effort based? Because sometimes people will quit out of certain things, like in the groove, with a low heart rate, and I'm like, seems like that time it was more in their head than like it was more so like them getting actually tired. Like you could sometimes you can differ, like you can tell really what's going on with their body, and not only are they in tune with their body, you're in tune as well, which like in a sense by monitoring their heart rate, which I thought was really cool.
I see. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
I
Okay.
use mine for
Well,
running too, so I've gotten my heart rate up to 203 before.
That's understandable. Actually, come to think, I really should probably start measuring my heart rate. But actually, I have this really cheap smartwatch here. It looks like a Apple wannabe or a Pebble wannabe.
That will
I
work
don't
as long
really
as you're
know.
like staying still. Like wrist heart rate does work if you're just staying still. But yeah, if you're moving
Yeah.
around like playing a rhythm game or running, it's traditionally not that accurate.
Yeah. I'm just all these cheap stuff is just my parents got them, and this is not my wristwatch actually. I just took it from the table because I was curious what was on it. Speaking of which, I really want to make a video about. I'm thinking of starting a series where I just use the cheapest like equipment for things and use it on rhythm games.
Ah, I
So
like
like
that
let's say the
actually.
cheapest mechanical keyboard,
$5
and then there's
controller
the
series or something.
yeah, something like that. And I was thinking of what if I took the cheapest phone out there and tried to use it to play any rhythm game. How bad would it be? I want to know.
I like that concept actually. Or you could do
Yeah.
like a budget controller, it's like making a controller on a budget or something. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
That'd be I kind of like that idea, and I feel like that could be executed. But going back to that
It
voice thing,
Yeah.
I like the voice.
Which one do you want to use?
I
You
like
want to use the voice module?
so my thing is you could play BMS on it because you can use that as the scratcher. You could just say
Oh.
something and be like, ha, and then it scratches.
No, but what happens when there's a lot of scratches?
You just yell. You just keep it going. So Asai, he's the most well-known Clone Hero YouTuber. He managed to get. Have you ever seen the DK bongos, the Donkey Kong bongos?
Yes.
So
Wait,
there-
did he use them?
he used them to play Clone Hero. So there's four inputs on the DK bongos. There's two on each drum, but there's a microphone built into it, which was meant to be a clap function. Like in the game, you would actually clap when like I think it was like a yellow note or something. I forget, but he managed to get it to work for Clone Hero. So for green, red, yellow, blue, it was for like the two drums, and then for orange, he would use his voice. So what he would do is for really hard parts that had like a lot of orange notes in it, he would hold down.
Just keep yelling.
He would hold down the other notes with the bongos, and then he would just go, brrr, and it would go that fast, like to the orange notes. It was amazing.
That's actually impressive. I
Or-
wonder how you would.
Or if you
get it
looked
to
up,
work.
if you looked up like a 600 BPM metronome, it would like the orange note would start flickering really fast, like perfectly, to that. It's just insane. Like it works so well.
Because like, what's so fascinating to me is that the program is on time. Like the thing is that
Yeah.
you can't program like the way program like software works. It's just you don't. There's no BPM inbuilt in this thing. I mean, is the Donkey Kong game like a random game? Is it? But even
Yeah,
then,
it's like
even
called-
controllers.
I forget what it's called. I don't know if it's Donkey Kong Jungle Beats. No, wait, that's the GameCube game. That's like a story game, I think. I forget what it's called. I'd have to look it up then. But
Yeah,
yeah, there's a Donkey Kong rhythm game where you hit the bongos and the clap function
Clap for
is
the
meant
cue.
to you're supposed to actually clap.
Yeah, but the clap is not. I mean, I imagine that the point of the clap is so that like
There-
it sends one input, right?
Probably, but I guess Asai exploited it to where it can actually register a ton of inputs for some weird
How?
reason. I don't know.
How did he figure it out? That's so fascinating.
Like he went
I
up and
wanna
just started
know.
going brrrr, and it registered that fast.
Oh,
I couldn't believe it. It didn't make sense to me because it's such an old controller. It's like early 2000s, like early mid
was it? Was it?
2000s.
Was it like? Was it? Did it like register that way because of like the trrrr sound, or was it like?
Yeah.
Was it registering every time he hit like the sound from his voice,
No,
or
no,
is
no,
it
no,
because of what he pressed?
because when he pulled up a metronome that did very isolated, fast like sounds, like a clicking sound, like a, but it was very
Mhm.
isolated, specific. It would do that. It would actually measure. Like I don't know how such old technology could function that well.
No, his technology, that technology is, I would say, it's very impressive. Like, okay, so the thing is that this Donkey Kong thing he tried doing, right, is something
Mhm.
I tried to replicate with my mic actually. If I made a noise, it would trigger.
Yeah.
I did that before, except that there's a noticeable delay. Like, I think in OBS when you say something, there's like a bit of a the delay dead zone as your voice goes down, even though you stop making noise.
Mm.
Yeah. So that is what happened when I tried to code the program. So this means that let's say if I wanted to, if I played this crazy like 300 BPM like loud beat where it will go like loud to like nothing, loud to nothing, the mic would just register it as one long press instead
Yeah.
of like separate beats. So the Donkey Kong one being able to do that
Yeah.
and how he managed to figure it out that
I don't
way, it's
understand.
impressive. I
I don't
don't know.
I don't know why it does that. Cause yeah, I've seen. I remember Yukog Monkey, another Clone Hero YouTuber, would do things like where he would activate notes with his voice or whatever, but there would be like a huge delay. So I don't know why the Donkey Kong bongos are so responsive. It's like its microphone is super responsive. Out of all the things, the most trivial like aspect of the controller, it's just it works seemingly well.
No, I think it might be because that the controller itself is not bloated up by let's say OS or anything. Like it doesn't have any drivers or anything going on in it. All it cares about is that it hears a sound.
Yeah, no, okay. That's a
And it
fair point.
yeah, like if it hears a sound, which is like it want hear sound one, no sound zero. So it doesn't take note of like things like delay, where
Yeah,
the sound is
it
down.
it just does, and I love everything about that.
We need more mics like that. I mean, but I think realistically, if we didn't have mics like that, right, a lot of sentences would be cut off if you were to speak into that kind of mic.
Oh yeah,
But DK
absolutely.
bongos, I mean, no, we gotta be. How much are those things?
They probably go for a decent bit now since I'd imagine they're rare. I don't know. I'd have to look
Yeah.
into that, but at the time they weren't super expensive. I remember I had a cousin or like a cousin's friend or something who just had them, and back when the game was popular, like there were a lot of DK Bongo bundles. I was a pleb who played the game on a GameCube controller, the Donkey Kong Jungle Beats game. But when like there would be like there was a story driven game. It wasn't a rhythm game where you would play with the bongos. Like to move forward, you would hit the right bongo, I think, and then to go left, you would hit the left bongo. And then I forget what the clap feature did, but it was such a unique game at the time. Like it utilized the bongos
It,
so well.
it really makes you feel like a gorilla.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
dude, that's the best thing I've heard all day.
Yeah, I'll have to send you the DK Bongo video then. It's genuinely fun to watch. I included it in my rhythm game using the wrong controller compilation, which I
Oh,
forgot
definitely.
you were in as well. I always forget I included you in it.
Honestly, that was probably like it's the strangest thing. Actually, it's a shame that your video came out at the time because like if the things I used to play like later on, it was oh right. I'm so looking forward to my next man, there's so many video ideas I want to do, but the unfortunate thing is that I can't do them without sponsors because I want, like I said, trash products, they're cheap, right? But there's no, if I'm going to make like 5 videos and each of them like the cheapest thing, let's say the cheapest tablet out there is $30, and then let's say the keyboard is going to be like another $60. It's like
Yeah.
I'm at this point buying a whole new setup, but budget, it's still going to cost me a bit, so I need sponsors for that. Kind of sucks.
Yeah, I
But
gotcha.
The next thing I want to be sponsored again, probably by Banggood, or I can't do Bai because Bai I kind of like ask them for certain things that are really pricey. I probably won't ask them for until a long time because I feel kind of bad for spending their money.
Yeah.
But okay, so Banggood, I'll probably ask something else again. It's a smartwatch. Like we were talking about smartwatches
Mm.
just now, right?
And
And
for what?
one thing I noticed is that cheap Chinese smartwatches, a
Hmm.
lot of Chinese smartwatches, they run Android.
Okay.
It's
Interesting.
not the specialized smartwatch like optimized Android like for the Samsung watches.
Hmm.
Straight up Android that has the Play Store inside. You know where it's going. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I gotta
Oh
try playing
man.
arcade on my wrist. It's going to be so bad. No, no, no. No, you have to see this. This is so good. The moment you see the image, you will feel extremely intrigued. Like this is the first time I've seen a smartwatch that looked this strange. Okay, let me find it real quick. All right. It's also the biggest smartwatch that like the world has that exists right now, by the way. It's the biggest one. I sent it.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to do the weird transition again because I don't have two monitors.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh
You know
man. What is this?
apparently the size of it is two
What?
Apple
Why is it
smartwatch
hanging off
screens.
the edge?
It's like 1:16 to 9. It's actually you could watch YouTube videos on that thing, you know? You know,
Oh
and
no.
my favorite part of this thing is, and you know, you see the image clearly. It looks like they're marketing like a Microsoft OS there, but it runs Android. This is
Oh
just
yeah.
false
I
marketing.
forgot. I forgot you meant. Oh my god. That's so.
It's so
How did?
cursed, but actually, it's kind of expensive though. Not gonna lie.
I know. I looked at the price. And I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I kind of want to know how good or bad it is. I'm very curious. I'm very curious.
Uh,
I mean, as much as I don't really like playing Osu with X insert object here, it's gotten to the point that it's so dumb that I made that video playing Osu with my feelings just to show like the irony of the entire thing. It's just insert object here. It was a good shitpost.
I'd like to try
Eh,
some scuffed controllers eventually. I want to start reviewing more controllers or whatever, but I just don't. I just haven't gotten around to it or like buying them or anything.
I wouldn't encourage you to buy them. I think it's better to reach out to them. However, the thing is, usually the ones that are more willing to send things are the Chinese companies. But the thing about Chinese companies is that usually they sell things cheaper. So it is something that is easier to sell to the audience. Not that you try to get people to buy their product because you or you know that kind of stuff. It's more of
Right.
like there's more reason for people to watch a video if it's something that is not absolutely crazy. People watch two things: one is very cheap, or two is very expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's something to look into. And if anything, right, what I really want to review is this thing.
Oh, is that the?
It was the optical switch
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
It's clicky.
Oh, it is really
I don't
clicky.
know.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's very clicky. But if you look at it, you can see that the keys are very flat. The actuation distance is actually not very
Oh yeah,
long.
they're not very long at all.
Yeah, I feel speedy on this thing. But however, I'm not sure whether how this compares to the Apex Pro that you mentioned before.
Oh,
It sounds like the
yeah.
Apex Pro. It could be much better than this. But something
Apex
about
Pro
this,
is
it's
phenomenal.
like I noticed that blues they can be heavy. This is not heavy.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is not heavy. Like it has a nice click. Not so much a bump, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
but it's so hard to explain. It feels linear but clicky at the same time, and I feel like 4K players they would enjoy the kind of click bump feedback with the linear and the shorter actuation point.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
kind of speed because like the tactility, the clickiness is what helps you keep you on time,
Mm-hmm.
and then like the it being linear and like short is what gives you your speed.
My thing is like if it feels
Mhm.
too fast, I have a really hard time doing like getting accuracy scores on it.
That's true.
The
I feel
Apex
like
Pro
this
is
it
like the
could be a
perfect
problem.
balance for me.
I might have to try comparing the Apex. Right. Oh, I think you might be able to ask. a couple companies. I do have one in mind. In fact, okay, all right. I think we were talking about the Osu keypads earlier, right? I
Yeah.
do have a plan on talking about building your own keypad.
Hmm.
It's the unfortunate thing is that because I'm using a numerical pad,
Mm-hmm.
numpad, it's quite difficult because personally I wish that people sold the hot swappable PCBs for anything like things that isn't like the full keyboard. Like at least people who play 4K, 7K, they would be able to do it for. But in the end, like unfortunately, it looks like Osu is the most accessible game.
Yeah.
Like so, the hot swappable numpad is actually a great idea. Like you can show people how like the PCB, like hot swappable PCB, putting in the case, and then like it's hot swappable, different row, different switches. So the Osu player's wet dream, I guess. And it's RGB, very gamer.
I think making a like a keypad tutorial, I think that's actually a genuinely helpful and probably super in demand type of video, if I'm being honest. I
Oh, I have a plan actually. Oh,
I
but this is not
I'm very interested.
go on.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
go
I'm just
on.
very interested in that. That sounds like something I would be very intrigued because I think a lot of people, everyone has their own preferences with rhythm games in general to begin with, and I feel like if they have the tools to build their own controller, I feel like that can open up a huge amount of potential in those players, and possibly like I don't know. I just feel, the word potential just comes into mind with so many different things. I feel like that's just an all around
Like
net
things
positive.
can, I mean, like you have the perfect setup for yourself because you made it for yourself.
Yeah,
You don't need to
exactly.
please anyone except
Yeah.
yourself.
It's like how in the groove players modify their own pads. Like they have their own machines. They're always modifying their own pads to certain sensitivities and like it's perfect for them. Like they spend hours upon hours making sure every little thing is perfect for them and that the arrows aren't over tapping, but they're super sensitive and that like, stuff like that. So, I think that'd be cool if that came to other rhythm games.
To some extent, like the arcade controllers for like Sound Vortex, 2DX, Pop N, they do the same thing. Like the arcade players, they make sure that they have their right springs
Mhm.
and the switch weightings. It's not as elaborate as the ITG players for sure, but we do care. I have a very specific kind of configuration that I can play with on a Sound Vortex cabinet and mic setup at home.
Hmm.
And I've seen other people go as far as to have their preferences be like, I want a 100-gram spring, but what I'm gonna do is gonna stretch it by this amount so that it's slightly heavier. And then that's another level. That's
Yeah.
another
No,
kind of
that
level.
yeah, that
I've
gets
never seen.
pretty.
That's actually crazy. Oh right. So wait, that keypad thing. I'm thinking I could do it. The thing that puts me off. Okay, so I actually thought about making the keypad a really long time ago, as a young child, because I didn't have a mechanical keyboard. And then the problem that made it difficult for me is because in the end I could not get the parts, which I think a lot of people would run into a roadblock. I find it difficult to make videos that in the end I feel like it's not beneficial for people because a lot of people are just cock blocked by the fact that they cannot either one, they are not old enough to buy their own parts, or two, their parents wouldn't let them, or three, they can buy it, but they don't have a 3D printer or anywhere a workshop to create the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why my curse controls look the way they do, by the way, because those are actually honest attempts to make a controller. I said that I just don't have anything.
Actually, now that I think about it, what is it? This
Mhm.
thing does not feel mechanical at all. I should point that out. Like, do you hear that? Like, it doesn't.
It doesn't sound like it. It sounds more like a strange, like a light switch.
Yeah, it's really weird. It like sounds nothing like a mechanical keyboard, but it functions like one. Like it plays like one in terms of like how fast
It
you can
could be
go.
the, it could be the keycap
I think
flu,
it's the
and the
keycaps.
keycap isn't hitting.
The keycaps
Yeah.
they feel super cheap, but they work. I don't know why they work, but they work.
I am thinking of one idea of it has nothing to do with gameplay at all, but I wanted to just RGB up my tablet. I don't play OS anymore, but wouldn't it be nice if like I modded the size to be those mouse pads with like
Yeah,
lights
the really fan.
around?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm pretty
I'm
familiar with
going.
RGB stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to make my tablet look cool. All right. Speaking of which, maybe I should get a custom keyboard. And have you ever considered getting one?
No, I love the. I'm too in love with the Apex Pro to even consider anything else. I am married to this thing. I'm in a committed relationship with it. I have never liked a keyboard more than this, and I've never seen such consistent success with it. Like, I am blown away by this thing. I
I used to really like, right? Like I used to call my keyboard my wife too.
but this thing's amazing. It does everything I want to and more. Like, I've never had a keyboard that can do accuracy as specifically well as I want it to, and I can also move extremely fast with it too. And the fact that I can adjust my actuation force if I perhaps want it something lighter or heavier, it's that freedom that just makes the keyboard stand out among virtually any competitor, like almost any competitor. I don't even know if there really are any keyboards that exist right now that do what SteelSeries is doing. Like, SteelSeries is putting so many keyboard companies to shame. They really are.
I mean, it's really going all out. I might consider trying that keyboard. I'm really curious. Lately, I've been really curious about keyboard and their switches and all this stuff, um, because I feel like compared to everyone else, most people don't have the kind of money to try all these keyboards. So
No, no.
I feel like like definitely not. So like I feel like it's a social obligation to let people know. I mean, these are like I would call them low hanging fruit videos, but if it's informative, if
Oh,
someone learns something at the end of the day,
I do think
it's a good video.
if it's for the people, I don't consider it low hanging fruit. I do it for the people. I need people to know about this thing.
Yes.
This thing right here. I can't turn it around because it's hooked into. Oh wait. Ugh, this thing right here is the pit. This is next gen keyboards. Wait, what is that on the? Oh yeah, I forgot. I put like a little meme on the bottom or the top right of it.
That's so cute.
Wait,
Can I look at this? Can I look at the profile of the keyboard?
I'm gonna pull up a picture of that meme. It's a legendary one. What were we saying?
Can I look at the profile of the keyboard later?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I could look at a review, I guess.
Yeah, this. Oh, there we go. I had to put the. Oh, another cool thing is the wrist, whatever thing it's called. It's hella dirty. I need to clean it, but it's like magnetic. It goes. Shoop.
Snaps on.
Yeah, it snaps on. It's
Oh
so cool.
man, I need that. Oh, do they have a 10 keyless version of the keyboard?
A what?
A 10 keyless version of the Apex Pro. I'm kind of running low on desk space right now.
Probably not.
Ah, damn it. It's fine.
This
it's
is
fine.
the
It's okay.
this is the only size it comes in.
Understandable. Because my desk has been getting a bit populated lately. Oh well, it's mostly because I have this like console on my desk that I used to edit with. That's all.
Ah, okay.
Which surprisingly, by the way, has very nice switches.
Whoa, that thing's pretty cool.
It sounds like laptop switches, which I thought it was scissor
Fancy.
switches. But my friend who's a keyboard enthusiast that like tapped on it, he was like, "These feel like they're mechanical," and I'm like, "Aren't they laptop switches?" It's confusing. These things are definitely too rigid or tough to use for random games, which I tried. But I also don't really want to break this. I had Zechi come over and play Taiko on this thing with the two keys, and then like I looked at it and I felt my heart kind of break inside, like the way he was treating it, and I was like, now I understand how people feel like when they see me try to use their keyboard for things. Oh right, by the way, I realized that this thing is really customizable. Like I can set the knobs to do stuff. So I think I set this to like my scroll wheel because like I wanted to scroll up and down on. I had this Frankenstein set up on my PC.
I'm looking at that. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
That looks so cool. I mean, I'm not really cultured with editing software or like external things in general, but or like consoles.
Like, this thing sucks.
I've
not
never.
gonna lie.
All right, never mind.
This thing is no better than a keyboard, but it's cool, I guess.
It does look neat. It's a good thing to just have around.
I've gotten so accustomed to using this that if you were to open Photoshop or Premiere in front of me with just a keyboard and a mouse, I'd feel like 30 seconds of a sense of loss, and then everything will process and be like, okay, I need to. Yeah, everything's on the left side because I just binded everything to like shortcuts here.
Wow, that's really interesting.
This thing works outside of like the Adobe ProRes, which I made a hotkeys here. I realized that I could set. I don't know why the program allowed it, but it did. They allowed mouse movement, vertical and horizontal, and you know exactly where I'm going with that. It's some Vertex time, and it went awful. I hate it.
Oh my god. I feel like I'd break it or something. It seems so fragile.
Oh, this thing is like it's entirely made of metal.
Oh,
It's crazy. Kind
wow.
of crazy, not gonna
I
lie.
mean, I'd imagine the
Yeah.
base product is like, yeah, really durable. I just didn't expect it to be like, rhythm game material it can handle.
Yeah, I imagine not. I imagine not. Definitely not. But I believe that the buttons actually are gaming material because I think they were advertising that they use gaming switches and like keycaps for like the thing. And when I saw that I was like, why though? You're just making the price of this thing more expensive if like using higher quality products.
Yeah.
But I digress. It's alright, I guess.
Yeah.
It's cool. But with this thing on my desk, right? I have like no space for like a full size. And I've been mostly using like, my Topre Switch keyboard. It's like smaller and like my place is clean now. I guess I could live with like maybe a 10 keyless, but the full keyboard, I guess I'll have to put stuff away.
Yeah. But man, shit, it's been like what, over 2 hours?
Oh shit, man. We
Oh
just
man,
talked.
yeah, we really just went for it. But yeah,
Alright,
I mean,
so,
I think we covered a lot of good things. I think
Yeah, we did. We
we
definitely
were
did.
all over the place, but I think we covered a lot of good ground overall.
I think we should I think definitely when you upload a video segment it into different parts. I'm sure you will be doing this. Have you
Um,
heard of YouTube's new feature? You don't know the ones where you can segment the video?
no, I've never heard of that. Honestly,
Oh, you know.
I've seen plenty of podcasts just be uploaded in their entirety. So,
Oh no, it's not as in when I mean segment as in like the YouTube like bar
mhm.
at the bottom. Usually it's just one line, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you can kind
You
of
could
split.
segment it. Yeah, you should do that.
I'll have to figure out because we talked about just so much shit. So I'll have to jot down notes for all of them.
If we're ever going to do this podcast again, I think I should show you what's underneath my bed because I have even more random gamer stuff underneath there.
Oh, okay.
I have a lot of stuff.
Very
All right.
intimidating. I was like, who do you have someone under there? I was like,
No. I have those beds where you can store things underneath.
oh,
That's all.
okay. It's just
Yeah.
a very intimidating sentence to open up with. I was like,
right.
sure, I've been asked that before and it didn't end up well, but
No, nothing worry. It's like I guess there's some manga down there, but mostly I store the controllers that I don't touch very often down there.
oh, okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair.
All right, thank you for having me on the podcast.
Yeah,
It's been
no
a fun
problem.
time.
Yeah, it's definitely good to just do a podcast in general. So I was very glad you were able to come on and just talk. It just felt, yeah. I usually like when
It was very natural.
yeah, very natural, which is what I was pretty much aiming for and what I plan to aim for future podcasts. So thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to support Tokaku's channel over at her channel. Be sure to support my
Nah,
channel
subscribe
with
to
all
this guy.
with all my links and stuff like that. You know the drill. I'm not gonna give you some written response. And until next time, I'll see you guys.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, and I'll see you guys in whatever video I upload next. And take care, everyone.